All right, shalom, shalom. We are the real Hebrew Israelites of the Great Millstone Branch here in Raleigh. And first and foremost, before we get started, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son.
YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
Double honor to the elect of Israel. We're going to get straight into it. Brother, when you're ready. But again, as we're here, we prophesy. The prophets have been raised up here in Babylon, the real prophets. And of course, the Lord warned about many false prophets, right? They're going to be more false than true prophets. The Spirit, is dealing with you. It's good to say, I see thy teachers, man. You will hear a word behind you. Never mix the message. Time to get out this bitch.
Yeah, to fame of the word.
Yeah, Baruch, chapter 3 and verse 8.
Baruch 3 and 8. This is the book of Baruch. This is Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments.
Right. It says, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity. All right. So that means right now in present time, as we are here. All right. In Babylon, aka America. Okay. And we is in reference to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right. According to the seed line of your father. All right.
Yep, and Babylon's America.
Yep, yeah, and how do we know that we're in our captivity? All right, because we are under contracts. All right, according we are under the contracts of these elites. All right, which is that's the reason why you have a social security number. All right, a ID. All right, a driver's license.
Can I rephrase it for you? Yeah. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28. I'm gonna read verse 45. And read a couple verses of 45. It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign, and for a wonder, and upon thy seed forever. So these curses, like brother's going into, which this is verse 48. I'm reading verse 48. Verse 48, it says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee. Slakia. This I meant to get the one for the one of all things. Yeah, I thought it was verse 48. My eyes were playing tricks on me. But these curses are for a sign. Was verse 48? Yeah. Okay, Slakia. Yeah, verse 48 is the point. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in the want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. So the contracts, the one of all things, we're subject, to the rule of our oppressor, our enemy, Esau Edom. We gotta go to this man for groceries. We want the opportunity to have a roof over our head. We have to go and put in an application. You gotta put in an application, and you might not even get approved. You gotta work 40 plus hours a week, just to make ends meet, just to barely get by. We are in servitude here, especially, who you see in warehouse jobs, who do you see, in the trash, doing the trash, cleaning service. You watch that movie, Fight Night. He said we clean your toilets. He said we serve you at the dinner tables. We're the servants, of this society, and that's the Israelites. Yeah,
Yeah, you can read it.
This is Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us.
What thou has scattered us, all right? Because we scattered throughout the four corners of America, you know, simply because of what? Because of our people and their transgressions, all right? They're breaking of the law, which is that covenant. You know, our people broke that agreement, and one of the major offenses that our people did was that they worship idols, all right? They worship these pagan gods, all right? Yeah, Salaki, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Up the water, my brother. You got something?
Yeah. It's Daniel chapter 9. I'll read 11 and 12. It's Daniel 9 and verse 11. It says, Yea, all Israel had transgressed thy law, even by departing, that they may not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us, and the oath that it is written in the law of Moses, the servant of the Most High, because we have sinned against him. So I'll read the next verse. But all Israel transgressed, meaning we all fell short, man. Now, we all didn't keep the ways of YAHAWASHI, therefore, going into contracts, we didn't keep the Lord's ways, you know. Therefore, the curses came upon us, line upon line, precept upon precept, man. You know? Literally, man. There's Daniel 9 and verse 12. It says, And he hath confirmed his words, meaning it came to pass, which he spake against us and against our judges that judged us, by bringing upon us a great evil.
Yeah, and that's how we know that we're the Israelites. This is how we know, you know, that we are the Israelites. This is the evidence. The evidence is that we gotta go to our enemy for water. We gotta go to our enemy, you know, if we want any and everything.
Yep.
You know, if you want some fresh fruit, where your enemy has contracts on it. He has a patent on certain seeds on how to, you know, what you can grow. You know, and it's crazy. This man has full control over this grid system. Yeah, bro.
Yep. Finishing Daniel 9 and 12, it says, For under the whole heaven have not been done as have been done unto Jerusalem, or upon Jerusalem. You know, again, the judgment. You know, no other nation has went on cargo slave ship as in the form of these so-called News Latinos and Native Americans, man, that transatlantic slave trade, you know, brutality that was done onto you by the Spanish conquistadors, all right, you know, onto you northern tribes, you know, the cavalry, onto so-called Indian tribes, man, Gad and Reuben, you know. There's no other history that documents, as well documented as what happened onto us in any other nation, because why? Because we're the Lord's chosen people, man. You know, and this is Daniel speaking in the time, you know, going to Babylon and eventually going to the Persian captivity, man. So captivity after captivity, you know, and these nations know that when we disobey our power, then guess what? What happens onto us is the Lord's not with us, man. You know? You know? But again, just backing up the brother's point, man, again, those curses are a sign. It says that in Isaiah the 8th chapter, man. The people whom they have given, roughly paraphrasing, are for signs and wonders in Israel. What happened unto us is a sign and a wonder, man, going back to the curses, man. You know? You got it.
You want me to read the Baruch again?
Yeah.
This is Baruch 3 and 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse.
Right, for a reproach and a curse, because our people are scorned and our people are mocked, you know. Pretty much, and pretty much what our people are, we are the main ones that are in these poverty-stricken environments. All right, we're called by bywords and proverbs like black, you know what I'm saying, Mexican, all right, Indian, you know, which are these are not our biblical names, all right. These are not the names that was given by our Heavenly Father, all right, and His only begotten Son, YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, who the world equally called God in Jesus Christ. No. Nope.
This is Baruch 3 and 8, and it reads, it says, And for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God.
Right, to be subject to payments like the brothers was going into, you know, we have to pay tribute here, you know, because like the brother said, we got to go to the enemy for the one of all things, all right? You know, and we subject to what? We gotta pay taxes, you gotta pay a mortgage, all right? You gotta pay car insurance, you know. All of these different things. It said what about the latter end on it? It said the iniquities of our forefathers. Yeah, cause you know we are our forefathers coming back. All right, via reincarnation, which that word means back, incarnation in the flesh. So we are our forefathers coming back. You know, in this time, you know, and we gotta pay. All right, we gotta pay for all of our iniquities, which is the iniquities goes into those multiple sins. All right. Okay. You get Micah 79.
I got Mike.
This is the book of Micah. This is Micah 7 and 9. It says, I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him.
Right, it says, I will bear the indignation of the Lord. So that word indignation goes into, all right, the Lord's righteous anger. All right. So we have to go through this process of being chastened. All right. Simply for our own doings. All right. Because we gotta clean up the mess that we made. All right. So we have to endure these afflictions, because through these afflictions the Lord is correcting us. All right, he's purging out that old man. All right, that filth that we took on. All right, you know, being under the hands of these heathens. All right, and practicing their customs and their mannerisms.
Yeah, you know, Jake wanted to be a heathen so much that they worship their gods. You know, so the Lord put us under their rule to see if we would like to serve their gods and to be servitude under them. You know, because if we serve the true and living God, we'll be a peculiar people, you know, above all the nations upon the face of the earth. Right? So I just want to mention that, bro.
What?
This is Micah 7 and 9. I will bear the indignation of the Lord because I have sinned against him until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me.
Right, and how did the Lord plead our cause? All right, through this great gathering. You know what I'm saying? We heard our apostles and elders. All right, you know, preaching and teaching. You know, so what the Lord allowed us to receive this word. You know, we was revived through this word, because you know without this word, without this truth. All right, which is speaking about the knowledge, wisdom, understanding of these scriptures. Okay, we was lost. All right, you know, we was living in the ways that were contrary to the Lord, which is those ways are pretty much those are the ways of death.
It says, he will bring me forth to the light, and I shall behold his righteousness. That was it.
God said, "Bring me forth to the light," right? Because that light which is again, all right. This knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures, all right. Also, our Lord and Savior is likened to that. Well, He is that light, you know, because that's because YAHAWASHI is the mediator. He's the door. I mean, He's the way back into the good graces of our Heavenly Father. You know?
Yeah. This is I got something for you. This is St. John 1 and in verse 4, in him was life, and the life was the light of men, and the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. There was a man sent, so the light, would shine in darkness. Which we know our people, who are in ignorance, here in Babylon the Great, the light is shining onto them, right, via this understanding that we've been given, to put our people in the proper perspective, that we are in captivity because of a punishment, and we can't, we gotta be humble, right? We gotta we gotta repent, we gotta turn back to YAHAWASHI, and realize that we put ourselves here because of our disobedience, right? me read it again. It says, in him was life, and the life was the light of men, right? So this truth is the life of men, right? YAHAWASHI. And that's what we're here to present unto our people. YAHAWASHI, for he is the way, the truth, and the life, right? No man coming unto the Father but by him, right? This is the way back to enter into glory, right? By coming into the straight gate, right? The path of difficulty. That was it.
That was it. Let me get Micah 2:10.
It's the book of Micah.
I got a quick one. Like me on the slide. This book, chapter 4, verse 1. It says, these are my life, right?
Yeah.
It says, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die.
Yeah, what the scripture say, lo, I come in the volume of the book, it is written of me. You know, here in the scriptures, you know, dark sayings, proverbs, you know, wisdom, instruction, life, right? YAHAWASHI is mentioned throughout all throughout the scriptures. Jake drunk. Brother Ibrahim. On the third lane again.
Right, it's the same guy.
That's funny. But these commandments are the commandments of life. All they that keep it shall come to life, you know? And this law was to be upon us forever. You know, it shouldn't depart out of the mouths of our you know, it's supposed to be taught to our children's children. You know, Yahweh, you know, right? He said, this is my name, my memorial to all generations. Right? So we're supposed to always remember what the Lord did for us as he gathered us out of ancient Egypt, out of the house of bondage, and he made a covenant with us, which is an agreement, right, to keep his ways, and he would upkeep us as the top nation upon the earth, right? But we broke that covenant, but we're fighting to enter back into that rest. Yeah, brother. Mike. You want to say anything, Micah? What do you want?
Yeah, you get the mic.
Okay.
The water, my bro.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 2, and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest.
Right, it says arise ye and depart. That means to come into this precious light, all right? Or this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures. It says arise ye and depart, because this doesn't mean to take a plane, a train, a jet, or a cruise ship, right? To go into another country. All right, this means to depart spiritually. All right, to depart spiritually from what? All right, all of these philosophies and these doctrines of the world. All right, the traditions of men. Okay, all right, this propaganda. All right, the democracy. All right, all this hypocrisy. You know, these false religions. All right. You got our people, they going into these different church houses. They go to the so-called Kingdom Hall, what's that, the Jehovah Wickedness, all right? 7-day Adventists, the Mormons, you know, Catholic. Our people is into all kind of madness, all right? And these are the things that, you know, that our people must depart from. You got it, brother.
Yeah. I got a quick one real quick. So you're going into the philosophies and stuff. This is Proverbs 21:16. The man that wandereth out of the way of understanding shall remain in the congregation of the dead. Right? And you know, the understanding is speaking about the man, is speaking about the Israelite, you know, man that wanders, you know, someone who's wandering their lost. Right? So now you're a man that's lost. You've wandered out of the way of righteousness, right? And you're gonna remain, you know, amongst those who are without knowledge. You know, 2/3 of our people, you know, the way of the West, following the ways of the heathen, right? The Lord, you know, is shining this beacon of light, but the majority of our people are blinded. The majority of our people are too far gone. They have done, you know, abominable works, right? You thought Legion was bad, you know. You had a man that was possessed with a legion of demons. You thought he was bad after the Lord cured him. Now these people are way worse.
Yeah, yeah, bro. Cause just like to your point, you know, cause our people they have taken that broad way, because our people, you know, they don't want to take heed to instruction. You know, they don't want to have no type of accountability. All right, so them being into all these different philosophies, you know, they're not held to a standard. You know, they can pretty much just do as they please.
Michael.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
Right, because it is polluted, man. All right. What did the scripture say? The earth is defiled under the inhabitants thereof. All right, and who is this world under? That's Job 9 and 24, the wicked, man, which is Esau, Edom. All right, the so-called white man. You know. It said it is polluted. How is it polluted, man? All right, we eating GMO foods. All right, you got all type of microplastics. All right, you know, in the water. You know, the water supply is tainted. All right, the air quality is tainted. You know, you got all type of CHME trails. All right, and how else is it polluted? It's polluted by the blood of the saints. All right, which are you Israelites, man. You know. It shed the blood of our forefathers was shed here. Via the what? The transatlantic slave trade, the trans-Saharan slave trade.
All right.
You know? Kind of. You got it, my bro.
That was it.
That's it.
I got something for you.
Kind.
This is Psalms.
But you don't call your next priest of that, so rest of that free.
Okay.
This is Psalms 13 and 3. Consider and hear me, O Yahawah, my power. Lighten my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. You know, so you know we should, our people, you know, after, you know, once you understand that this isn't your rest, our people should be crying for knowledge. Well, you know, what is the way? You know, our people should be seeking, you know, asking for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein. Right? Our people should be up here inquiring about, you know. What do I gotta do? You know, how can we escape, you know, the bondage of this place? You know, the pitfalls, the traps. You know, because you know when I go to the store and buy organic, well, it doesn't make me feel any better when I eat it. You know, I go work out and I juice and I do all these things to make myself feel better, but I don't feel better. Because there's an absence of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Our people are spiritually dead, you know, and we're spirits before we're flesh and blood, all right? You brothers got it.
This Romans chapter 13 in verse 11, Romans 13 and 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Right, it says it is high time to awake out of sleep. All right, because this is the Apostle Paul. All right, he's speaking to the believers. All right, of the nation of Israel. All right, he's telling our people to come out of this spiritual coma. All right, to put off the ungodly fashions, okay, of this world. All right. Yep, Bob, shall you read one more song?
Yep. Romans 13 verse 11, and that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Right. It says what? It says what? For now is our salvation, okay, nearer than we believe. All right. And we seeing different signs, man. We seeing different signs of the wars and rumors of wars. All right. Things still brewing up in the Middle East with Ukraine and Russia. All right. What's that? Those Israelis and Gaza. You know.
Yeah. You know, because we had can't remember what years it was, but Russia and America had a Cold War. You know, everything just, the can just keeps getting pushed down the road until they're ready to move into the next stage, right? Because through war, it's easy to bring in, you know, their draconian measures or draconian laws through major events, right? So we know we're at the cusp, you know. We're at the door of, you know, a major event changing America, you know, society as we know it. You know, that, and we're watching. That's how we know the times. That's how we know these things. And we're out here to give our people warning. Sorry.
No, the water, my bro. Yeah. Like I said, wars and rumors of wars. Then you had the pestilence. I think probably about an hour and a half ago, you know, the Apostle Tahor was going into they got the bubonic plagues out there in Arizona, you know, and then they got the whole I'm gonna say the Devot 19. All right, they got some new strain. They call it the Nimbus. All right. So, you know, we seeing these different things. Or what else? It says what rumors of wars, the pestilence, the earthquakes. All right, there's like what thousands and thousands of earthquakes going on. What's that out there in it's multiple earthquakes going on out there in Japan. All right, so these are just some of the signs of our Lord and His coming. You know, the Lord is visiting this place.
Yep.
That was it, though.
Yeah. Was that what you want to bring out?
Yeah, that was.
Okay, kind of. You can step down. You know, of course, step out.
Yep. Kind of. Hey. With that being said, Lord's willing, you was edified. YAHAWASHI Shalom. Shalom.
I got something to bring out. BAHASHAM.
Just a scripture.
This is Proverbs 22:3. It says, "A prudent man perceiveth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished."
Yep. And again, you go into someone that's prudent, has foresight. You know, you think about people that can see things play out before it happens. That's what called prudence is. You see the play before it plays out. You know, and again, those prudent men are the seers, the watchmen, right? The ones on the high tower that can look out into the distance and they can see the enemy coming, man. You know, certain elements playing into a play. You know, you see, you know, certain things come to fruition. You know, hey, this is a bad situation. I probably should leave this. You know, you ever been, you know, even in the world, at a party and like, yeah, shit gonna go south soon. Let me probably get the exit before it gets too bad. That's called prudence, man. You know, he foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. Think about animals in the animal kingdom. You know, the birds and their sounds. You know, they know, hey, there's a predator here, man. Let's get loose, man, before it becomes somebody's food. It says the simple pass on and are punished, meaning people that have no knowledge, man, that aren't paying attention. They become food because why? Their eyes aren't open, man.
And like the brother said about the animals, how they leave before the danger comes. You gotta also sometimes pay attention to animals because they'll get up out of there before a storm come in. You know, before a big storm come in, you'll start seeing them go a certain direction.
Yeah, if you see a flock of birds, you know, you start seeing a numerous amount of birds in the sky flying, you know, away from something. You got a question like, damn, there gotta be something over there. You know, you see a crowd of people running from some type of. You watch a movie, you see a crowd of people running. Well, you know where the danger is because they're running from the danger. You know, wisdom, you know, allows us before Jacob's trouble, you know, is in full effect to prepare ourselves and to get out of these dire situations, which is to be ultimately an enemy to YAHAWASHI. You know, that's how, you know, people are going to get caught up because there's not going to be any covering for them. I got a precept. This is Proverbs chapter 8, verse 14. It's speaking about wisdom. It says, "Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I have understanding. I have strength." Right? Verse 12, it says, "I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions."
As you go into, again, real wisdom is the fear of YAHAWASHI, man. You can't say you're prudent unless you fear the Lord, man. You know? Because again, what it says in Proverbs as well, the fear of the Lord is the fountain of life to depart from the snares of death. You know, what is the wages of death? Sin. You know? So you keep away from sin, man. Things that are anger the Lord. Because we know who is in control of life and death, man. It's YAHAWASHI, man. But to say that issues from death belong to the Lord. You know, he kills, he makes alive, he wounds, he heals. Right? Evil in the city, the Lord done it. Right? So how do we not piss him off, man? We fear him. You know? Like it says in, if you want to grab it, Sirach 19 chapter, if you want to take a verse, acknowledge the wickedness, not wisdom.
I got a precept for you. This is Job chapter 28, verse 28. "And unto man he said, Behold, the fear of the Lord, that is wisdom, and to depart from evil is understanding."
Yep, so it's not just knowing, all right, you have to understand. Understand why you shouldn't be eating shrimp, ham, pork, lobster, man. Understand why you shouldn't be worshiping idols, you know, committing adultery, doing the things that, again, are not pleasing the sight of the Lord, man. That's understanding. You can know that these things are wrong, but still do it, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Because when you understand why it's wrong, it allows you to hate it. You know, when you see, you know, shrimp being pulled out of the ocean, you're just like, you know, that's supposed to be, that has a purpose, supposed to be cleaning the ocean. And then when you see, you know, a woman eating it, gives you that disgust for her. You're like, you know, why would I want to be with her? You know, it clears a lot of confusion up. You know, allows you to fight against the flesh. You know, because Jake see a woman, you find her attractive, she order a plate of shrimp, you're like, oh, yeah. The rating go down. You know, so that's why we have to get understanding, because wisdom is going to show us that's not the way, right? That's not you being obedient, right? I got a precept though. I'm sorry, was there any more?
Yeah, I got another one, bro.
No, bring out the other one.
All right, this is Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever.
Yeah, they have a saying, smart men are not always wise. You know, kind of similar to what we're about to get, right? You know, smart men are not always wise, right? The Lord giveth wisdom. Wisdom is a gift that coming down from the heavens, you know, off the Heavenly Father's throne, right? And it's even a knowledge to know, right? It's a wisdom to know where it comes from, and to acknowledge that only way we can keep that which was a gift, we gotta acknowledge YAHAWASHI in all our goings, right? And lean not upon our own understandings. The Lord is in full control of this simulation, so in everything there's tests and pitfalls. You gotta understand when something's a demon trying to allure you, or when it's the Lord, you know, showing you a way, showing you a path, you know, out of a tight situation. Sorry. You got any more? Okay. This is Sirach, chapter 19. I'm gonna start at verse 18. I'm gonna jump. This is Sirach, chapter 19, verse 18. The fear of the Lord is the first step to be accepted of Him, and wisdom obtaineth His love.
Because what is love? The fulfillment of the law, man. You know, keeping the ways of YAHAWASHI, man. Working no ill towards your neighbor. You know, again, keeping the ways of YAHAWASHI, that is love, man. Keeping His commandments. You know, you fulfill that again by you fearing Him, man. You know, that's why we out here telling Jake you should be doing this, doing that. They don't do it because why? They don't fear the Lord, man. You know, that's why Jake is rejected. It says in Jeremiah, they're going to be called reprobate silver, man. Because why? Because they don't fear YAHAWASHI. That's the first step of being accepted. You know, there's stipulations, man. You can't just come as they teach you in the Christian church, come as you are. You know, you still a bug out, you still a moe, you know, still eating shrimp, ham, and lobster, and the Lord gonna bring you in. No, man. You know, the Lord gonna spit you out, man. You know, because you're not fit for the kingdom. You're unclean, man.
Yeah. Because wisdom is basically telling you everything you've been doing in life is wrong. You know, you've been living your life wrong this whole time, so in order for you to start doing things right, clearly a change would have to be made. Right? The wisdom of this world is foolishness in the eyes of the Lord. You know, to go to school, you know, to have a job that pays all this amount of money so you can buy the nice house for the family, you know, drive the nice car, you know, send your kids off to summer school, summer camp. You know, that's all an illusion, you know, because at the end of the day, your actions on what you're doing to keep up with that, you have to reject the Heavenly Father. You know, if you speak out against anything that goes on in society, anything that's wicked, you're in what's the right word? You know, you're in danger, you know, of you're in risk. You're at risk of losing all those things you've been working your whole life to keep. You know, so wisdom teaches us that all of this is temporary. You know, that this world is gonna fade away via nuclear destruction. I'm gonna jump to that precept. This is Sirach 19:22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom, neither at any time the counsel of sinners prudence.
Yep. So not all wisdom is real wisdom. Not all knowledge is real knowledge, man. So the knowledge of wickedness, the left-hand side, you know, going to rebellion of YAHAWASHI, which they teach you in these schools, right? They indoctrinate you. you know, to worship yourself, be a good slave, you know, get a career before my agenda, you know.
Yeah, before my order for a woman, for a woman. You know, women, you know, they tell you, you know, well, you know, if I just had a good job, you know, you ask a woman, well, why do you do this? You know, and a lot of times their motive is money, because, you know, money is a defense. We understand, yeah, money answereth all things, but they're trimming their ways for money, right? They're demoralizing themselves, right? All on the internet. You know, if they have some type of a sales job or some type of service job, whether it be a waiter, they gotta make sure they got makeup on, they're all dolled up. You know, when they're in the office, they're wearing the tight outfit, right, to get the attention from the boss. And they tell you it's not for attention, but it is. Women want a easy life. You know, and the easy life will come in the kingdom, right? We would have read Micah 7:10. Then she that is my enemy shall see it, you know, see the glory of the benefit of getting down with a man of the Lord. You know, an average Joe here in this society whose focus is stayed upon YAHAWAH, YAHAWASHI, and our true purpose, right? This is Sirach 19:22. The knowledge of wickedness is not wisdom.
Right, so it don't matter how many years you've been in school. I'm a PhD. You know, you got cum laude on a piece of paper, and now you're considered a smart person, man. No, especially now, you get a degree by just Googling, man. Chat GPT. You know, that don't mean you're smart. You mean now you're in debt, you know, to try to, live a life of paying it back, man. You know? And all the stuff you earn is all for your belly. Like you said, a house, a car. It's not for nobody but yourself, man. You know?
And I seen a meme. It said it's a whole generation of people going to school for a job that's not even going to exist in the near future.
Yep.
You know, due to the AI and this new system coming in.
Yeah, most people go to job. Let's say you go to job for business. Well, you're not going to school. I'm sorry. Let's say you go to school for business, right? For, you know, to eventually get a job. Well, you know what type of job you're gonna get? If you're a Jake, that's just gonna promote you to a management position at the local warehouse. You know, instead of you working on the line, the assembly line, you behind the desk. But you gotta bump up pay raise a couple more dollars. You got a couple more, you know, perks.
That you're getting taxed on, too.
That you're getting taxed on. A job that ain't gonna pay the bills at the end of the day. Nothing in the society, you know, is really gonna for Jake and what the careers that Jake get into. It ain't gonna pay. It ain't gonna take care. It isn't gonna give you the American dream. The Lord is putting our people in those positions to say, damn, something wrong with the society. Something wrong. Where's the answer? Right? Romans 11:7. Israel have not attained that which he's seeking for, but the election have attained it, and the rest are blinded. Only the election are going to get the answers, and that's who we're out here for.
Can someone get 1 Corinthians you quoted? 1, start like 19. That's all.
This is the book of Haggai, chapter 1 and verse 5. Now therefore, thus saith the Lord, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes.
Yeah, because if you read the context, you know, the reason why Jake was struggling because the temple wasn't established. You know, the temple wasn't built. You know, so Jake, you know, is so caught on about building, you know, and what they got going on, wherein you gotta go to your power source, the Heavenly Father. Man, if you think anything, you know, you get some box from a fine woman. If you think that is anything comparison to what the kingdom has to offer, you know, you're not in the right mind. You know, you eat the best meal. You go to the best restaurant in town, the best cook is up in there. He cooking you some food. You know, that's not in comparison. You know, Jake really isn't really understanding, right, what we're fighting for. And they're here in this rat race trying to hold on to the crumbs that they have. You know, Jake is in a spirit of desperation rather than in a spirit of abundance. You know, and abundance is going to come in due season. We're planting the seeds for abundance to come, where rest will be allowed.
That's it, yeah, because you know, you're going to, again, Jake's mentality in the world, they're chasing after Esau, you know, which had 100+ years of head start, you know, with free labor, you know, us being real hardcore slavery, and still to this day getting a cut of everything we do. Land tax, everything you do is tax, man. So you'll never be able to catch up. But if you get a mentality of, you know, again, seeking the Lord while he may be found, coming in early, right, building, you know, the temple first, now, which is spiritual, you know, start with you, right, and then join yourself onto YAHAWASHI, the foundation he's laid. Now you're early, man.
Yeah.
You're an early investor. You're not in a panic mode and desperation. Oh, I gotta catch up. You know, you're ahead of everybody, man. You know, because again, the Lord gave us the inside scoop, insider training, insider trading. That's why, again, you know, we're in a different mindset than the people in the world, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a spiritual, mental head start. You know, we, like your brother just said, we ahead of the masses of the people. We know what's coming. We already braced mentally and spiritually for it. We ain't gonna get caught off guard or unawares.
Yeah, if I may add, you have certain investors. We talked about Warren Buffett. You know, he got in early for these like companies like Apple, and he held for a long time. And when you look at Apple and how much is gross, Apple, right? You know, everyone has an iPhone in their hand, do they not? Right? Apple, over their span, has given back over, I believe it was either 17 or 21,000% in returns. You know, so Matt, those, you know, that's, you know, I believe that's like 17x in your or 170x, right? It's a crazy return, right? So imagine you just continue putting in and investing over time, which that's what he did. You know, equate that now to the apostles and elders that's been invested in this company that still hasn't popped off yet. You know, people still don't really know about, still the ground floor, but you've had 30 years, you know, 5, 10, 15 years to invest in it, you know, to put all your energy and time and knowing the nuances of it, you know, and giving it your all.
That's it. Yeah, because the things that are really valuable, you have to have an eye for it, man. You know, you got to have a keen eyesight. You have to know what you're looking for. And real investing is boring, man, because it requires patience. You know, you guys got now these get-rich-quick things. You know, they're very high failure rate, man, because it's bad investing, man. You know, if you got eye for it, man, you can make cheese. I'm sure you. I mean, there's a few, but most people that, you know, it's not gonna work, man, because you're not really building wealth. You're gambling.
Yeah.
You know, but did you have something?
Yeah, I got something. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of Yahawah.
Yep, that's what's happening. You know, as people, you know, we're sighing and crying for, again, the Lord to come back and return. You know, pretty much the vibration of the world is the same in the same way, man. You know, as Scripture say in Proverbs, when the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. You know, you got birds in remote islands worrying about plastic. You know, I was watching on Netflix. You know, this I forgot what the island was, but it's thousands of miles away from civilization, and they're worried about eating too much plastic, man. They're in the middle of the ocean, and they got stomachs full of plastic, man. You know,
Yeah.
that's them side. What do you think they're doing? They're side and crying, man, because the world's upside down, man. You know. So again, the world's waiting for a righteous ruler. That's why everybody can't wait to vote. Hopefully, you know, I can put a vote in, they'll change everything. No, man. The vote's already been set. That's Psalm 2nd chapter, man. Why the heathen rage?
Yeah, when you, the reason why people invest, everybody is looking for the next hot thing. But the men of the Lord, we found it. You know, so we anticipate them more than anyone, right? But I got a quick scripture, real quick, just backing up what we were just talking about. This is Proverbs 13:11 in NLT. It says, wealth from get rich quick schemes quickly disappear. Wealth from hard work. It says wealth from hard work grows over time. You know, so, you know, you can equate that to this truth. You know, he that soweth sparingly shall reap sparingly. You got to be all in. You know, that's when those returns really hit. You know, you get 100% return on 10% of your portfolio, or 100% returns on 100% of your portfolio. You like, I hit. You know, you're feeling good. But it's over time, are we going to receive that 100-fold? You know, it's compound interest, you know? Oh, because we're constantly, every week, we coming out here doing, you know, doing these modern day, you know, prophesying, you know, prophesying in 2025. Can you believe it? You know, since the world began, men have been prophesying, and the prophets have been out here prophesying, and the Lord has us once again doing it.
No new thing under the sun.
No, no new thing under the sun. So how long have men been putting in that investment in, you know? So, you know, we're ancient spirits, and Lord's willing, from the foundation of earth, you know, we've been following the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. So we at the end of this thing, the IPO about to launch, you know, they already put the paperwork in, you know. No, IPO is basically a private company going public, you know. This truth, we're out here publishing it, you know. The Lord gave the word, great was the company of those that published it. Man, like the brother said, the suffering of this present time is not worthy to be compared with the glory that's about to be revealed in the sons of YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. You just gotta hold. You know, it's hard to hold when you're up. You know, but, you know, it's hard to hold when you're down too. You know, because Jake down. You're like, man, I gotta cut my losses. You know? You got it, bro.
This is continuing on in Romans chapter 8. This is verse 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waiteth for the manifestation of the sons of Yahweh. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjected the same in hope. Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption.
Yep. And what's that? The flesh. You know, we're going to be delivered from the flesh, all right, which Yahawashi is going to, free us from that, man. We're going to get that glorious body like he has, man. You know, because as long as we're in these bodies, we're always going to fall, man. It don't matter if we got our sovereignty now, man. It happened back then. You know, Jake had the setup, man. On the King Solomon, we were straight, you know. And what happened, man? Jake went left, man. It goes by, we were subject onto vanities. The flesh wasn't made to be perfect, man.
Yeah.
You know?
I got that for you. This is Acts 15:10. It says, now therefore, why tempt ye Yahawah BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples, which neither our fathers nor we are able to bear?
Yep, so let's go into the council, you know, in Jerusalem about, you know, pretty much the newcomers, you know, the circumcision putting a heavy burden on the newcomers, man. You know, the so-called Gentiles, which are the scattered of our people, man. Telling them to keep every intricacy, man. You know, which they can't even keep, man. You know, because Jake was pretty much being an asshole, man. Yeah, exactly. We were vassal on the Romans. We were in captivity. We're gonna go so far, man. Yeah. You know, so how much more now in so-called America, man? You got these, again, same guys today. The laws, the statutes, commandments. You know, keep the commandments. Keep the commandments. What about faith in Yahawashi, man? You know,
and them ones screaming keep the commandments is the ones fucking up the most.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what Yahawashi said. You know, why say the beam that's in thy brother's eye, but the mote is in thine eye? You know, the beam that's in thine own eye, but the mote that's in your brother's eye? You know, but there's one more verse and then you can go back. Right. It says, verse 11, but we believe that through the grace of the Lord Yahawashi, a Mashiach, we shall be saved even as they. You know, so it's all about grace, you know? Yeah, it's not easy being down. You know, like brother said, you know, this flesh, You know, it weighs it was, you know, the flesh. It mused upon, it weighed down the earthly tabernacle, right? That mused upon many, roughly paraphrasing it, right? So this flesh weighs you down. You don't know what. Am I right? You know, you be meditating on something. Is it right? You know, like, hey, should I do it? You know, would the Lord be pleased with me doing that? And it's really the sincerity. Will the Lord be? That's what you really gotta ask yourself. If I did this, because all things that are lawful are not expedient, will the Lord be pleased with me doing this? Right? And that's where, you know, that's where the grace lies. That's where YAHAWASHI lies.
Exactly. Yep. So that, again, that's like, get onto that point. We're stepping onto vanity so we can have hope in YAHAWASHI, man. To call upon YAHAWASHI. That's the whole setup, man. To look upon the Son and be healed, man. You know. But again, Jake's still in that same mentality, man. They can excuse themselves, all right, get past YAHAWASHI by keeping the righteousness of the law, which is impossible, man. None of our forefathers can keep, you know.
All right, continuing on. Verse 21, because the creature itself also be delivered from the bondage of corruption and to the glorious liberty of the children of Yahweh. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even if we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. For we are saved by hope.
Yeah, if I may add, because you know, brothers go through a lot in this flesh. You know, we gotta deal with a lot. You know, emotions. You know, controlling. Or you know, if you see something that disgusts you, you gotta keep tempers, be angry, and sin not. You know, oh, the flesh is weak. You know, you know, the fact that you read about the angels and how they really don't have to eat. You know, the fact that if you go, you know, a couple hours without, you feel faint in these weak bodies. You know, you're like, damn, I need to eat something. Then you have this the decision fatigue. You know, to where your decision making skills, you know, it's like a you know, your phone loses battery and you gotta put it back on the charger. Well, you gotta recharge. You know, so you gotta have quiet time to yourself. But Babylon the Great don't give you no quiet time. So it's a constant fight. It's a constant battle, you know, that we're in these flesh, and that's why we're groaning, and we have such a desire to do that which is right, because all this is a fight to do that which is pleasing to the eyes of the Lord. I was watching the brothers out there in Rochester, New York. You know, he started out the camp lesson. Brothers shouldn't be ashamed at the battle. You know, you're getting all condemned because you feel certain. It's natural. We're in the flesh, right? But these people are actually going after the flesh. You know? Yes.
Yeah, you go have your ups and downs. You know, it's a war. You know.
No, right?
Yeah. It's a war. Shit. You sometimes you go lose. Sometimes you go lose, sometimes you go win. That's why the scripture says fight. That's why the scripture says fight the good fight of faith.
Yeah.
Be of good courage. You know, it's not meant to be easy.
Yeah, you had this movie called with Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf, and a couple other actors called Fury. And they had a new member of the team, right, that joined the ranks. He had just got drafted. You know, this is towards the latter end of the war, so you had a new guy, a civilian, basically, coming around seasoned vets, you know, that's been, you know, through multiple battles, you know, and there was a scene in the movie where Jake, I say Jake, right, the character, you know, he thought he was still, you know, he didn't want to, I'm not going to hurt anybody, you know, still, like, they haven't came into a battle yet. But then a bomb had got dropped on a building where, and he was basically, he was in shock. And with the seasoned vet, he was screaming, trying to, basically try to get the bodies out of the building, you know. And he said, you feel that? You feel that? It's called war. You know, all he could do was scream. That's the state we in. Do you feel it? Do you feel the pressure of the weight of Babylon the Great, this oppression, disobedience, right? It's called war. It's spiritual warfare. You got it.
Yeah, that's why the scriptures tells us to stand firm. You know, be steadfast, stand firm. You know, be unmovable.
Just real quick, and then we'll go back. This of Acts 14:22. It says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High.
Yeah, so pretty much again going to the mentality, being sober-minded, being a soldier. You know, when you're at war, you're not thinking about, toast. Shit at the crib. You're worried about what? Getting through what you're dealing with, man. As again, we have the mentality that, hey, what we're doing is gonna pay off in the end. We have visions of the kingdom. Brothers have better, maybe dreams than others, But nonetheless, again, going to the condition, we know that we're gonna have to fight for it, man. Just like with Jacob, to get his blessing. He literally wrestled an angel, man. That's our forefather, man. So you think about Esau. Esau was handed the keys, man. He stole, he lied, he robbed, he raped, he murdered. We're doing it the right way, man. He did the quick way, the easy way. Deceiving.
He said time and chance happen to all.
Yeah, man. He says that manifest destiny.
Yeah, man.
And you could say that the ball is in his hand right now, man. But he's, you don't understand that. Hey, the game goes on, man. Eventually you're gonna turn the ball over, man. That's him fumbling the kingdom, man. And you're gonna do that exactly when the MOTBs made mandatory, man. But not to veer off.
Yeah. Did you have some verse? Was there any more? I thought it was.
This is verse 24. For we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope.
Yep.
For what a man seeth, why does he yet hope for it?
That's going to get an investment, man. You see in your mind's eye the payoff, but you don't have it yet, so that's why you wait, man. You suffer it, man. And that goes into discipline. Think about going into the ancient world. Because a lot of these analogies in scriptures refers back to husbandry, man. You get the grace of the Most High, YAHAWASHI, whether you get the increase or not, man. You do the right thing, you toil the ground, all right, you break it up, you get some new soil coming up top, you're not muzzling the ox, and you ultimately, but this is Babylon, bro.
Them niggas was being funny,
They
man.
was, and that's fun. That's fun.
They might get stopped by ice vehicle tonight.
Right.
That's what I asked somebody today, hey, are you nervous? Are you nervous? About what's going on? Nah, I feel good. I was like, all right, we'll see. But so yeah, that Assalamu alaikum. Jake just threw the whole spirit off.
Yeah,
but I was gonna look up how long do farmers wait for seed to.
Yeah, I was thinking about that script too. From that.
James. Well, that's talking about us.
Break up, was that Hosea?
Oh, Hosea.
Yeah, break up the ground.
It says, I said, how long do farmers wait for their seed to grow? It says the time farmers wait. This is the AI overview. Right, Gemini. All right, Google Gemini. It says the time farmers wait for crops to be ready for harvest varies, significantly ranging from a few days to several months, depending on the type of crop and other factors. Some crops like grass can be ready in a couple of days, while others like corn and soybean may take several months.
Yeah, because again, you're going to farmers, especially in the ancient world now without all this GMO stuff, you got accelerated harvests, things that are springing up naturally in unreasonable times. That's why they're all, they don't decay. The motherfucker's red the whole damn year, no liquid brown, because it's not real. But going to the ancient world, farmers were low-level crops, man. They could tell, just by experience that, hey, we're gonna have, think about Joseph, man. He knew which was a vision he received, but him being keen to the earth. You know, he understand the patterns. He knew that, you know, 7 years of good's gonna come and 7 years of bad gonna come, man. You know, you still got now, you know, on the left-hand side, it's called a farmer's almanac, you know, which they predict, you know, what crops are gonna be profitable in the year, man.
And what the weather gonna look like.
What the weather gonna look like, exactly. Weathermen, low-level prophets, man, which they ass, man.
Right.
Weathermen are so terrible. They're the only people on earth that can be wrong and still have a job.
Right.
You know?
Every day of the week.
Literally, man. You know? But again, going to observing the seasons, the Lord made examples about observing the seasons, being prophecy, man. About the fig tree. It's an observable event. You can see it. You can see over time it changes. It's not poof. You know, it's slow progression. It's like with a storm, man. All the elements form together to create the storm, and guess what? They dance together, man. And then guess what? Then the rain comes, man. That's again what we're watching, man. The same analogy, like an onto prophecy, man.
Yeah, just like now, with this MOTB system coming through, we see it's not just happening overnight. It's a gradual thing, you know.
Yeah.
First we gonna take the paper, we gonna give them a debit card, we gonna give them a credit card. Now we gonna let them insert the chip. Now we gonna let them tap and go.
Yeah. And the
Now we
chip,
gonna let them wave and go.
Yeah. Remember when they did the insert chip? How much of an inconvenience it was?
Yeah.
It was they made it an inconvenience, you know. But they said it's more cryptic, you know. Now it's safer. Now, and you know, stable coins. You know, now, man, well, gradualism. Things have gradually progressed over time.
Yeah, y'all was just talking about farming and stuff, right? This is a little golden nugget. George Washington Carver, the brother's article.
Yeah.
Well, what made him famous was they was having slow cotton growing in the South, and they brought him down somewhere up north, and he used peanut. It has some type of
Like gas.
yeah,
The chemical reaction.
yeah, for the cotton to grow, and then long story short, he not only used peanut for many things we all know, but he called before Congress. He said, how do you know to do
Oh
these things?
yeah.
And he said, pretty much he asked for God the Bible to show him the way.
Oh yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I seen that.
He said, how do you know these things? You know, God told you. You know, it's that's the spirit. But I got to preach up. This is Hosea 12:10. This is Hosea chapter 10 verse 12. Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord till he come and rain righteousness upon you.
Yep, and that rain is the increase, you know. Think about the animals in the desert. They've been waiting months for rain, you know. They don't know what day it's going to happen, but they're in the right place to receive it, man. You know, the Spirit has them, you know, migrate to where the water's at, man. That's the Lord, man. And that fallow ground is ultimately the uncultivated land, man. Jake and them dead brain cells, man.
Yeah.
You know, in La La Land. Break up that old man, man. And so you can have space for righteousness, man.
Yeah, because they have a saying, we're dealing with the market. Time in the market is better than timing the market. You have Jake waiting till last minute, to repent. I'm gonna go, because 2020 happened. Everybody wanted to inquire. A lot of those people that inquired, some are still here. A lot went back into the world. People are like, something's wrong with the society, and then they got re-entangled in their mind because they didn't have the patience to wait for it. The scriptures say, though it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely come. It will not tarry. These scriptures, these prophecies, if you're really paying attention, because just dealing with stocks and different companies that's gonna shoot up, you can look at that as different opportunities in the marketplace. People, well, I'm gonna go to school and I'm gonna go to school and learn how to be a personal trainer. I'm gonna start an online personal trainer business, and then there's a trend that now social media is telling you that right now is the best time to invest in Airbnb. You're like, damn, I missed it. I missed the gravy train. But we know that this is the way. We know that the fundamentals that we're learning to be temperate, that to show restraint, self-control, to be obedient, to have wives and be as though you have none. We know all of that is great. You know, it leads to greatness.
And that shows we not hypocrites in the end. Because, you know, because if it was that easy, you know, Jake, if they knew exactly when the Lord will come, they'll hurry up and clean up. That ass right before the end, like, all right, the Lord finna come next month. Let me go ahead and clean myself up. Yeah, I ain't eating that no more. I ain't doing this no more. I ain't doing that no more. You know how Jake is. You know, when they know that grace period finna end, you know, all right, let me hurry up and go ahead and clean up and get my shit together right quick. You know, but you know, we doing this while we still have liberty. You know, when we can still go out and act a fool and fulfill the lust of the flesh, but we denying ourselves through the Spirit. You know, because you know it's our Lord's will. But this is Romans chapter 8, verse 25. But if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. You know, getting into patience, long suffering. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered.
Yeah, there's also scripture that say that the spirit of a man will sustain his infirmities, meaning like, you know, a strong spirit, and then a wounded spirit who can bear. You know, so the Spirit of the Lord, you know, is making us strong, right? And our spirits, you know, are always crying out to the Lord, you know, for us to hasten the day. So it's like we got this fiery, burning passion within us, you know, to stick to the mission, because we know, you know, we know within ourselves that this is the truth. You know, what the Most High has brought together, let no man cut asunder. You know, we've entered into a union, a marriage, and we know that, you know, YAHAWASHI, he's the guy. You know, we know he is.
That's right. Likewise, the Spirit also helpeth our infirmities. For we know not what we should pray for as we ought, but the Spirit itself maketh intercession for us with groanings which cannot be uttered. And he that searcheth the hearts.
You ever, you know, battling within yourself, you don't even know what to say. You're like, man, like, how I mess up here? You know, did I do this right? You know, you looking for confirmation. You know, all those is the Lord reads body languages, you know, the Spirit, you know.
Or you might truly need something, but your flesh and your mind not know exactly what it is you need, but your spirit know exactly what you need. You know, the Lord know exactly what to give you, or he know what to remove you from. He know what position to put you in. He know who to put you around. You know, you might have not thought of it or knew it, but like, it might be a reason the Lord moves you from this job to this job, or moves you from this location to that location, or, you know, or remove somebody out your life. And he that searcheth the hearts knoweth what is the mind of the Spirit, because he maketh intercession for the saints according to the will of Yahweh.
Who's the ultimate intercessor is YAHAWASHI, man. Mediator. You know, John 17 chapter is literally a prayer for the elect, man. You know? And again, that intercessor is us, between us and the Father, man. How are we going to get to the Heavenly Father, man, without YAHAWASHI, man? Of course, you got ministering angels, you know, don't forget about the angels, right? That look out for brothers on the right-hand side, you know, guiding them. Spirit. Like you said, moving people out of your life, that's angels, man, you know? Ministering spirits, you know? Putting us in a position that we might not have thought have been a blessing on the side. We might have thought it was a curse. But the Spirit of the Lord got you there, man, you know? Because you find out it's through time, it was for your benefit, man. That's ultimately us in this captivity when you think about it, man. If the Lord didn't correct us and chastise us, he didn't bring up and raise YAHAWASHI, right? What would we be, man? We'd be a no people, man. You know, so everything we go through is for our own good. That says that in Romans as well. All things happen unto the good of them that love the Most High. You know, paraphrasing.
Yep. And we know that all things work together with.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, brother just said it. And we know that all things work together For good to them that love Yahweh, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
Yep, it says all things, mean that's the Lord's algorithm, man. His mathematical equation. Eventually, it's gonna pay out for you, man. You know, your life, everything's numbered. The hairs on your head, the steps you take, that's all math, man. And who has the equation? You know, the answer to that problem is YAHAWASHI, man. You know, so everything works together. Everything's in motion. Think about life. Everything's moving. You know, nothing's ever really stagnant. Right? It's all for your benefit, man. If you be part of the elect, man.
Yeah, that's why you can't look at things as losses. You know, I count all things that were lost to me as dumb to gain the excellency of YAHAWASHI. You know, really, you go through your lessons, you know, like brother saying, some things just ain't meant for you. Some things ain't just meant to happen. You know, it's for your benefit. It's for your good at the end of the day. You gotta see the good in it. You know, you gotta praise YAHAWASHI in all of it. Right?
For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among my many brethren.
Yep. You notice that the language foreknown, meaning we already was known, man. You know, it wasn't some, you know, as again, we still deal with that. What about what about Esau? You know, what about the Gentiles? That kind of shit, man. The Lord didn't foreknow them. It was never for them, man. Because foreknow means you're getting reacquainted, man. You know, getting back to, knowing each other, man. Getting that relationship back on fire, man.
You're getting redeemed.
Getting redeemed, brought back, man. You know? So whom did he foreknow? He predestinated, man. It was already set up from the beginning, man. There's no randomness in the will of YAHAWASHI, man. It was all played out perfect. First time, no, oh, let's do this over again. It was good, you know? Tawab, you know? There was no remixes. There's no other book. Oh, there's a new book. The Lord had more prophecy. No, man. That's it right there, man. You know, and it all fulfills his will, man. And it's all in accordance to our favor, man. And again, that's what YAHAWASHI is reinstating with us, man. That's our faith, man. And the Lord's with us the whole time, even though we got thrown in captivity. But Jake be crying, where's thou loved us? Malachi. We always doing, Jake don't want to, it's going earlier, the accountability. Why you broke as hell? Why you got all the curses on you? Why you woman out of order? Why you got your ankles swelled up? You can't walk, got diabetes. It's because you're neglecting the words of YAHAWASHI, man. We acknowledge that early, man.
Envy not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. That's you envy someone, you want what they want, with what they got. And that's you lacking accountability. Well, Lord, they're doing this and they got that. How come they can go and do this and get that? Nah, you gotta. That's not the right way to be.
It's Amos. Out of all the families of earth, I have only known you. Therefore, I've appointed you for your iniquities, man. You don't care about nobody else's damn child. Nigga be doing backflips off the top of the road. We don't care. That ain't my son. Your ass. When you see a badass kid, where's his father at, man? Where's his parents? That's what with us, man. He said, you polluted my name amongst the heathen, man. That's I'm gonna spank your ass in front of all of them, man. That's what we've been dealing with, man.
Our kids, they be bad. Well, such and such was. I don't give. And the parents be spazzing. I don't give a fuck about what they doing.
Right.
Talking about what you doing.
Right.
You know better.
Exactly. Doing it in front of everybody. Yeah. They ain't gonna wait to the car. They gonna do it in front of everybody.
You know better.
Yeah. I got a precept. Just going to what we're saying. This is Ezekiel 18 and 29. It says, "Yet saith the house of Israel, the way of the Lord is not equal. O house of Israel, are not my ways equal? Are not your ways unequal?" Jake, Jake, disobedient, rebellious, showing the Lord that what he says as his counsel is insignificant. You tell a brother counsel, he don't do it. Come on, bro. What, you want us to feel sorry for you now? Do this now. Try this. And then he just keep not listening to counsel. Keep not listening to counsel. Eventually, that guy, gotta get away from us.
Because they refuse an instruction.
Exactly.
Proverbs.
Let him be likened on to a heathen man. Because the heathen, they wasn't meant to receive instruction. The Israelite man was meant to receive instruction. Right? So Jake, You know, now when it's time to pay for what we did, you know, Jake doesn't want to own up. You think the Lord is unfair and unjust because you didn't get that job? You know, because you didn't get what you wanted? We're not here to get what we want. We're here to learn a lesson.
Right. Yeah, we finishing we in our punishment stage, you know? Getting punished.
Yeah, you brothers that went to like in-school suspension, the end of the day start coming, you know, the teachers start letting up a little bit, you know, last hour, you know, then Jake get out of control. Alright now, alright. he start getting on you a little bit more. Y'all, the day not over, you know, and the job's not finished for us. You know, we're not in our kingdom yet. No matter how much lighten the load the Lord may do for us, you know, that the Lord can tighten it back up. You know?
That's Jacob's trouble.
Jacob's trouble, right? Yeah, kind of.
Oh, was there any more? Yeah, it was a little more. Okay. All right. Verse 28. No, verse 29. For whom he did foreknow, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called. And whom he called, them he also justified. And whom he justified, them he also glorified.
Yeah, and many are called, but few are chosen. So we don't know if we're of that number. You know, so with that understanding, nobody knows. We don't know who we were in the past. There's no remembrance of former things. You could have been a man that was rubbing shoulders with YAHAWASHI or with YAHAWASHI's disciples at any point in the past. You know, you could have been a man that got healed. You know, so you've seen the power, you know, in your past life, so you know the power is here, and you know the Lord showed favor on you in your past life. So what's any different now, right? Right? You know, Brother Samson could be here. You know, the favorable death. You know, the Lord clearly dealing with me, right? Samson. You know. You know, it causes us to where we don't be proud, we stay humble. Brother got it.
What shall we then say to these things? If Yahweh be for us, who can be against us?
You know, and that's the hope, right? The hope is if the Most High is for us, then it don't matter what we go through in our day-to-day lives. Our boss come up against us. You know, people, you know, they see you and they plot evil against you. You know, the elite, look, this a fucking cop texting and driving. You know, the hypocrisy of this kingdom, the hypocrisy of this place. You know, this nigga telling you that you doing something wrong, but he's obviously not living up to the standard that he'll pull you over for. You know?
And the police violate the most traffic laws as well. They pull you over for a traffic law or a traffic violation, but they be violating all day, every day.
Yeah, there was I was on the way to work, and this I got pulled over on the way to work, and months later I got a warning from YAHAWASHI. This was years ago, but I got a warning. But months later, there was actually an ambulance that turned on the sirens when we were stuck in traffic and zooted past everybody. And when they got to the spot that I got pulled over on the same street, they turned off the ambulance and just kept driving. You know? But they were speeding. But because they have this badge, you know, they have this covering of the world upon them, they're good. Showing you know, this world is full of hypocrisy. You know, people who get into power positions, the boss at the job. This nigga don't know how to rule his own house, but he's gonna rule over you. He doesn't have control over his diet, but he's gonna tell you how you should, you know, how you gotta straighten up. We gotta get out of this place. Men with power don't deserve power. I'm going on a rant. But go ahead, bro.
No, that was it.
That was it. I got pre-stuff. This is 1 Corinthians. This is 1 Corinthians 1:19. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise and bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent.
Yep, and that's how the Lord's glorified. Here it is again, with all this technology, as it says in Daniel's, knowledge shall be increased. You still got the most dumbest, docile people on the planet, man. More so than ever. People don't know how to do for themselves besides trusting in the system, man. You know? But again, going to higher than that, you know, again, people that have, you know, so-called scholarly backing, you know, where are they? You know?
Yeah. Because part of their knowledge, you know, like, during the C-19, putting the muzzle on was looked at as, like, morally righteous. It was looked at as right, because knowledge is supposed to lead to light. You know, to know things, and it's supposed to be a benefit to society. So these people who fully, you know, indoctrinated, they thought putting on a muzzle and then seeing someone that didn't, you know, like, nah, I'm not gonna put my muzzle on. Oh no, you can't come in here, sir. No, you're not righteous. You know, clearly.
You can't come into my house.
Yeah, it's just like you're not just, you're not holy because you're not listening to the knowledge of the leaders who are over us. Clearly, the men over us know what's best for us. They rule the government. They rule the world. You know?
Yep. Them same people that was pushing that stuff on you, you know, they responsible for a lot of deaths, man. You know, your so-called experts, man. These CDCs, and I mean, I don't want to get the channel flag, you know, but these so-called medical experts, which we're not giving medical advice, they're giving you advice that it fails, man.
But they admitted it.
Yeah,
they had the council.
The studies came out from the universities. All of that came out.
And I can't remember, man. There was when this dude, Dr. Falsify, when he was having his court, man, I don't know. There was a major thing going on among Jake. Man, before Diddy, there was another scandal. There's always a scandal amongst Israelites. I can't remember. There's so many of them. You know, but there was another scandal that went on. To keep everybody distracted. I think it was the Epstein.
And they still keeping the Epstein situation under lock.
Oh yeah.
Still, because it's too many top elite Edomites involved, you know, and they don't want certain things coming out.
Yeah. No. Can't really get it. This is 1 Corinthians 1:19. There's so much going on, you know. It's real like so much going on. This is 1 Corinthians 1:19. For it is written, I will destroy the wisdom of the wise, and I will bring to nothing the understanding of the prudent.
Yep, the Lord always done that, man. You know, and again, going to read Isaiah 19 chapter, the spirit of Egypt failing. That's what we're seeing, man. Everything the devil puts his hand to, it doesn't work, man. You know, he has to have some kind of a short-term fix to what he effed up before, man.
Yeah.
It's like a domino of fuck-ups, man. You know?
Yeah, we were talking about Jensen Huang and this company called NVIDIA, and how they recently they're the first company to hit a $4 trillion market cap. But, you know, that's bigger than the GDP of some countries, you know? But the reason why I'm bringing them up, because he's pushing AI. He's pushing this new world. He's going and having interviews with DJ Trump. You know, a few months ago, he was meeting with the Prime Minister of China. And he said, well, before he went in to talk to them, well, we got to understand we're coming into a new world. You know, these world leaders, he's saying, world leaders have to realize where the world is going and make policies that's going to forward the new world. So his prudence of what the new world is going to be like is going to be brought to nothing. You know, it's not going to work. The NWO is not going to work. The Most High has set boundaries that he cannot pass.
Can you read the 1 Corinthians?
This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 20. Where is the wise? Where is the scribe? Where is the disputer of this world? Has not Yahawah made foolish the wisdom of this world? For after that, in the wisdom of Yahawah, the world by wisdom knew not Yahawah. It pleased Yahawah by the foolishness of preaching to save them that believe.
Yep. So again, going to the foolishness of the Most High, which it says, you know, like in the same chapter, is wiser than men. Was the foolishness of YAHAWASHI, men on the corners preaching on the highways and byways, man. You know, which we got the greatest knowledge on the planet, man. Because why? Because we have the fear of YAHAWASHI, man. Again, you have all these plans, literally, trillions and trillions and hours of effort on trying to push the world to a certain degree, you know, to a certain trajectory. You know, you have these 2030 agendas, 2045 agendas. These nations, their leaders, they come together to what? To push the world and to lead it to the NWO, man. But guess what? The Lord's gonna turn it to nothing, man.
They call it G Summit, right?
G Summits,
Yeah,
yeah.
G Summits, the WEF, the WEF have meetings every year. The WHO have meetings every year. The G Summit have meetings every year, and that's all the elites coming together discussing, all right, what's this the next plan? This the next agenda.
Yeah, but you gotta ask yourself, wait a minute, you guys, we've been having meetings like this, and the world is still messed up. So what about the council of the wise men that was in charge 30, 40 years ago, and now, today, we're feeling the F-ups. You know, now there's, the earth is heating up. Now there's islands of plastic within the ocean. Well, wait a minute. You know, why should we continue to listen to you? You know, because clearly this council is not. What about the problems that are now? Can we make changes to fix the now problems, or do we have to keep building to the future, and eventually it will get better? You know, because economists know. You know, we need some type of recession. We need some type of restart. We need some type of deflation to where the rich lose their riches and bring everybody back down to a lower, a lower market cap, to where now we can start over. But everything is being inflated. You know, the elephant needs to be addressed. You know, brothers going to the analogy, you try to push the water balloon under the water, it's still going to pop up. There's still a problem right now.
Was there any more?
There's more, but I'll read this one and I'll skip down. There's on this one. There's Psalm 33 and verse 10. It says, "The Lord Yahawah, BAHASHAM YAHWASHI, bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect." So they're barely making a scratch or a dent, man. They're not changing nothing as far as the will of YAHAWASHI goes, man. Because again, you're planning tomorrow, the next day. That's all in the hands of YAHAWASHI, man. You know, because again, we're prophesying through the spirit of YAHAWASHI. What are you gonna do, man? Which again is your system. Your trap is you love your riches so much that you're gonna go all the way to the point where you're gonna put a chip in everybody. Because you are so scared of losing your power, man.
Yeah.
Because you knew you sold your birthright, man. And now this is you artificially trying to, first of all, trick the world, and then now you're taking a step further, trying to trick the Lord, man. You're trying to supplant the Lord like he forgot that you, your forefather, sold out from the beginning, man. He was we said in the Hebrews, he was never been a profane man since Esau. The one morsel of meat sold his birthright.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't prudent.
Yep.
It's the same people in power, man.
That's right. He was a fornicator. At least there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau. For one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know how afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. You know? So this new world that's being built, you know, when thou awake, O Lord, so shalt thou despise his image. You know? And the men of the Lord that's awoken, it's not a good plan. It really ain't. You know, you got so much money already. Everybody that's in $4 trillion in one company. Let's liquidate it. Let's liquidate the company, and let's create a real new world, a better world. But nah, let's not. You know, can he that is accustomed to do evil, can he do good? And the answer to that is no. Can a leopard change his spots?
Right.
Nah.
Even them that is accustomed to doing evil, do any good? And the answer is no, man. You know, what the brothers are talking about is you're starting to see a transitioning of power
and you're starting to see prophecy fulfill itself, man. All right, that's what it really boils down to, the will of the Heavenly Father and what He has written. You know, Nas had an album, it was written. Okay, well, the Lord has the scriptures, it was written, man. All right? Give me that Psalm 75 real quick.
This is Psalm chapter 75, verse. Lift not up your horn on high.
Verse 4?
Yeah. 5.
Yeah, yep, verse 5.
Yep.
Psalm 75, verse 5. Lift not up your horn on high.
And that's what Esau has done. All right, horn going into power. Okay? See, this man is going to be found to be nothing but a man. All right? Through his technology and things that he's been put up high, man. Through his armies. All right, which is ultimately, you know, blessing on the left-hand side by the Lord, man.
Yep. Speak not with a stiff neck.
Go ahead.
For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south.
Go ahead.
But Yahweh is the judge.
Hey, this dude, Scripture said he was more snout
Yeah.
than any of his neighbors.
Yep.
This dude Trump, you know, and a lot of things that going on in the media, you know, some of it is staged instead of to deceive the people, but some of it is, all right, we actually gotta put in the policy to fight against the infightings amongst themselves. You know, so, you know, there's so much that we don't know, but we do know a lot, because when you read in Kings, you know, Elisha knew what the king was planning in his bedchambers. So the bigger picture of things, the little nuances, yeah, but the big picture, yeah, what's coming, the overall agenda, yeah, it's gonna happen. The micro C hit.
Yep.
You know, the time of Jacob's trouble, Esau Edom rolling on the people to seize full control over the world.
We just don't know the exact, very little small details on how they gonna make it come about, but we know it's coming. You know, we know they gonna do something to cause the dollar to crash, or something's gonna happen. You know, we know there might be a sleeper cell attack. They've been warning us about cyber attacks, warning us about sleeper cell attacks.
Oh yeah, V for Vendetta. The government did a psyop on its own people and destroyed its water supply and blamed it on a foreign nation, and that's why they had to bring in the Big Brother. You know, and you have companies like Archer Aviation, which specializes in drone flying, and you have Palantir. Brothers have been talking about Palantir. That's looking to be joining with contracts. So now you're gonna have a Palantir in the sky. You know, where you have these companies, BBAI. You know, that has the facial recognition at these airports, and what's stopping them now? We need to put these things at jobs. You know, we need to put these things outside your job. Oh, in order for you to come into this building, you gotta use your biometrics. No more key cards. You know, so many things that are being pushed into society, showing that we are here.
Yeah, and all roads are leading to the MOTB. Yeah, and we're gonna get into that and see that's where the spirit's going. So let's finish this out real quick.
But Yahweh is the judge. He put it down one and set it up another.
Yeah, and you starting to see that set up now. All right. Well, Abba Bibis came on the scene. All right. Returned the hearts of the people to the Father, roughly paraphrasing. You know. And that's why everything is in the confusion. Everything's in the uproar. That's why these heathens, Mark the 3rd chapter, all right, are divided. You know, just like we once were and still are. That's why we can't come together. You know. They got different policies. One want to press the button, one doesn't. Let's hold on. You see what the prophecy says, our stand's gonna be lifted up. Let's just hold on, let's think this out. No, press the goddamn button now. You know? like brothers going into, all roads are going to lead to that sea man.
Oh, what about Elon? You know, the New American policy. The New American, it's called the New American, basically,
Oh, damn.
I forgot the last part. No,
It's like
you have a Democrat, you have the Republican Party.
yeah.
Oh, party. It's party. The New American Party. You know? So now he's a rich guy, you know, which, you know, that could be organic, you know, or that could be in the say, okay, well, Trump's an idiot, let's vote for Elon. Or Elon's an idiot, you know, someone can be a fall guy. So the elites of the society who really are pulling the strings, they allow things like this to happen, organically or not.
Yeah, and one thing we can say, we know Elon Musk is gonna play a role in this NWO because the Neuralink, the technology, the self-driving cars, the artificial intelligence. We know he's gonna play a big role in this system. Just like we know Bill Gates is gonna play a role in this system as well.
Oh yeah, Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon.
Jeff Bezos. Those are the CEOs. They're the CEOs. You know, they're just a CEO.
Yeah.
You know, how did they get the backing? Because how much of the company do they actually own?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, right.
What's their share of this $1 trillion company?
Yeah. And it's crazy because we mention these men, and they're not even the top dogs. They on a lower level than the elites, because they out there in the public, and we could point them out. The elites, we know the names of the families and etc. But we can't go and just point out and say, oh, this is a Rothschild, this is a Rockefeller, this is a DuPont, this is a blase blah.
Hey, so
You know, just to land
Sorry,
back.
man.
No, you good. Just like we are, in a sense, kind of like, you know, oh, that's them. They do the same with us. You don't think they rolled by the camps? They did with the apostles? How much more in every state and city?
Yo.
You don't think they got somebody, you know what I'm saying? One of the elite family members rolling by?
yeah.
Hell yeah, they do,
Yo,
man.
you know what's crazy? As we see Edomites walk past, they could have just thrown the regular fit and just walk right by.
But that's how they
we,
move.
Yeah, and we wouldn't
Yeah,
even. Yeah,
that's how they move.
We wouldn't even know. It
Yeah.
could have a Proud Boy could have walked by. A white militia dude could have walked by. You know, you never know. You know, because they not gonna wear a T-shirt and say I'm this.
They do. You know, the leaders walk by. Trained the leaders walk by.
Yeah.
These movies, that's real shit though. You know, look at that movie with Keanu Reeves, man. The John Wicks. You know, a homeless person will be someone to take your ass out.
Right.
They got these people everywhere, man. That's why the mercy of the Lord is so great. What you got, Azar?
I got this. I Googled how much of Amazon does Jeff Bezos owns. It says Jeff Bezos owns approximately 9.5% of Amazon's outstanding shares, making him the largest individual shareholder, right? But it says, but his ownership is around 9% of the company, while he has sold shares over time, and much of the company is owned by institutional and other investors. Big money.
Yeah. And 9% not a lot.
Oh no.
For a company you came up with, and you only own 9%.
He only owns 9%. But you know, but he's the face.
Yeah, right.
When he goes and says something, everybody listens.
But he the little guy when it comes to who actually owns it.
Exactly. You know, same thing with which I got a precept. This is,
I want to get Revelation 13 after that.
Okay, Micah 2:1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
That's the MO of the so-called white man. All right, that's what that's what he was born to do, man. And these latter times, he's fulfilling to the best of his ability. He's on point, and it's to come up against you tribes, man. He's working iniquity in the earth. You know, I saw a short clip. They was showing Gaza in 2023 how it looked. You know, before Esau started BOMB in that place, man.
It was nice.
Yeah. And then you could just, it literally like a war zone, man. You know? And how did he do that? Through his unrighteous laws, the priests working iniquity in the earth.
Yeah.
How much more the people of the Lord, who he hates? You got to remember, Psalms 83, these people came together against us. And he's doing this to his people.
You say you saw a video?
Yeah, a little short clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, palm trees and shit.
If there's a video like that, then where's the left-hand activists, you know, getting that video and pumping it, and pushing it to the forefront and say, this is what's going on. This is why we say this. This is our argument. Now, what say you? You know, what about, this is the evidence right here, but then, you know, no one's really standing for truth. And those who stand for truth make themselves a prey.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why, you know, the Lord is going to bring a great change in the world as we know it.
Yeah, and you're making a great point, because a lot of those people, they're going to be bought out or they're going to be put to flight. You know, they're going to be put to death. But what we're doing some of the same things, right?
Yeah.
We're calling out wickedness, but guess what? The Lord has our back.
Yep.
You know, that's what separates us between those people that you're talking about.
Yep.
You know,
People who switch political parties.
yeah,
You got that John F. Roberts. I can't remember the dude's name. He's been put over the food, the FDA.
John F. Robert F. Kennedy.
Yeah, exactly. He was a full left before. You know, and so was Elon, right?
Yeah.
Full left, but they switched sides. They switched to the winning team.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you say that, bringing him up, because I did a lesson on him during the week. How he's bringing these pop-up meals. What's that? You want to say something? These pop-up meals, man, and how he's going to make America more healthier again. But in those pop-up meals, it was going to the description like of something for breakfast and lunch and even dinner. But in the breakfast part, they was giving you out sliced ham. You know what I'm saying? Which is totally against us as Israelites.
Is it kind of like government meals?
Yeah, it's government meals. But
Like government assisted meals?
Just meals in general for all Americans.
Oh,
Like,
this is what they should be eating? Like the standard?
yes, but they're going to be giving this out. These are going to be things like,
Oh, wow. To support people.
yeah,
Oh,
Meals
wow.
Meal on wheels.
something to that effect, yeah.
Okay.
But for every American, you know, and every section was abominable. You know,
Yeah.
bacon, crusted chicken breast. The chicken's cool, but not the bacon. You know what I'm saying? You just made me think about that when you brought him up. And now people want to follow these people, man. They're gonna follow him right till they follow him into the chip.
They're going to follow him to keep that bit of normalcy that they have.
Yeah.
To hold on to this life. This is Micah 2:1. It reads, it says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Yeah, they're practicing it, man, because going back to Job 9, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. All right? So the rulership has been given over to a wicked ruler, and what do you think he's going to do? He's not going to promote righteousness. He's going to promote wickedness, man. Okay? And that's what you've been seeing. That's what you've been voting for. That's what you've been tricked by. Like brothers like to say, different wing, but on the same bird. It's the same bird. And now people fall for it line and sinker every time, man. Are you still holding it?
Yeah.
Read the last part again?
Yeah, Micah 2:1. It says, when the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand.
Yes, and they don't have much longer to practice it, man. Going back to Revelation 12, why Esau's going to come down with great wrath, knowing that he has but a short time. You want to say something, Mike Holler?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the craft. You know, you're going to masonry.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, mason is pretty much a stone worker.
Yeah.
But they built. You know, they forge lies. You know, secret societies. They go in the dark and deep to hide their counsel. That's their working in the dark. That's their practice. The left hand side.
That's
You know,
right.
Witchcraft. You know, that's the craft. If you ask about people are into masonry, they're called former craftsmen. You know, because that's what they do. They practice witchcraft.
Yep.
The highest form of masonry is witchcraft.
and that's spiritual because
Oh, Slakia, real fast. And didn't Biden get one of those awards after he stepped down for being president? He got like it's like a masonry award. Yeah, look that up. It's like, well, you got it.
and that's spiritual because secret societies and they do stuff in secrecy and in darkness, but on this side we do what we do out in the open, and that's light. You know, like the script say, you know, you can't hide a candle. You don't hide a candle under the bed. You know, you put it on the hilltop. We on the hilltop out in the open, in the public, to be seen and letting everything be known. No secrets, everything out there.
Yeah.
But with them, they in darkness and in secret, and you gotta dig, or you gotta seek it out.
Yeah, because there's no benefit to their knowledge at the end of the day. If when you put a candle to light up the room, that light has a good benefit. You know.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh wow, I can see now. They're throwing darts in darkness. You know, clearly there's nothing but mischief behind there.
Time.
Yep, here it is. It says, after his presidency, Joe Biden was declared a master mason. It says in quotes, at sight, a rare honorific status on January 19th, 2025 by the most worshipful Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of South Carolina for recognizing his outstanding service to the United States of America.
There you go.
What it said? It said a rare. That's a rare.
It's a high level.
It's a high level.
A high level reward that's rare.
Yeah.
You know, and you got to shit. He got 1 foot in the grave, 1 foot out. So it's a lot of Masons that'll never even get that reward, and Biden got it due to his wickedness.
And honestly, there's so many psyops. That go. Is that really him?
Right.
You know, we don't. You know, Jake, do you leave? How many times a day do you leave? How many times a year do you leave your city? You like, be real.
No, bro, it's some Jakes that don't even leave their hood or their block for their entire lives.
You know,
It's a lot of Jake like that never stepped out their home city, their hometown, or left the block.
what do you really know about the world? What do you really know what do you know what's out there? What have you really seen about other than the television they put in front of you? Where do you think they get all this inspiration from all these movies? We don't know what the hell is really going on. You don't really, Jake, Esau really don't know how big the earth is. You
Right.
know? You seen the map, the globe? Man, come on.
That's not even the real.
You know, you think the earth is, this thing can take a plane ride around the world. Hell no.
Right.
This man has been given a little portion of the earth.
Very small. Just the fact.
Revelation 13.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
Revelation chapter 13, verse 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak.
Jump down 16. Straight to the point.
All right. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Yeah, he is representation of the ones who has been given the power of the earth, man. You got something, Mike Alder?
I see the picture. Jake handed him an award too.
Wow.
Yeah, South Carolina. You know, it's Jake.
Of course.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
It says the private meeting took stage. I'm sorry. There you go, brother. It says the private meeting took place backstage of an open international African American museum in Charleston, South Carolina.
So it could be a political stunt, but still, that's crazy, man. You know,
Yeah.
and again, who's handing the award? Our people. That's why we need YAHAWASHI.
Yeah, there was
You know-
because
Yeah, go ahead.
no, because you remember at the end he apologized for slavery. Remember at the end of his presidency, after they lost, or right before it was known that he wasn't going to win.
Yeah.
He went down to South Carolina and apologized for slavery. I remember that now. Bro, there's so much that be going on.
Yeah.
You can't remember everything. Cause
Yeah.
it's like watching a movie. It's like watching a movie in 2x. If you don't go back, if you don't go back and examine frame for frame,
Yeah.
you know, you ain't gonna, you know.
You know, it's funny. They say Charleston, South Carolina is one of the most what they call haunted cities.
Haunted.
Yeah, in America. See?
Yeah, it's haunted. A
That's
lot
crazy.
of demonic activity.
Demonic,
out there.
yeah, activity. Yeah. Well, you know, that's they say that's the home of a lot of what they call them, Geechee people. You know, it's like slaves that came over from west coast of Africa.
Okay.
A lot of Levi, Benjamin, Judah, but they dealt in a lot of like witchcraft too. You know, I used to work with a chick and her brother that was from there, and it's like even it has its own lingo. Like it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
It's nothing new, because that's what Jake used to do. Go in the groves, go in the closet and worship idols. That's why Jake somehow funnels them ways themselves into these so-called groups, man.
Yeah. Jake wants to be wicked. You know, Jake told me, he said, I would join the Illuminati. You know?
Yeah.
This nigga just graduated high school. What do you know about the world?
Yeah, and that's the thing. How people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. All right. So read that Revelation 13 and 16 again, because this is where everything you see happening on the earth is leading to this right here. All right. This is the main ingredient to the NWO, man. Having everyone, a C-hip like cattle. You got it out.
And he calls it all, both small and great.
Right, because you don't know who, the Israelites like the sand of the sea. So look, this man has a C-hip, the Michael Jordans of the world, okay, the Jennifer Lopez's, all right, down to your average hobo, your average homeless person, bum, all right. Go ahead. What's your?
Nigga, let this car on.
Yeah, I was thinking the same shit.
I'm pretty sure it's about to turn off. You got it.
Rich and poor.
That word causative, looking up in the blue letter, one of the definitions is to make ready.
Yeah, to make ready. It's being made ready now. It's going to be easily accessible for you Israelites to go down there and get it, man. The technology is already here. You got certain stores already programmed with the devices to scan your hand, to scan your forehead.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, when you think of all, you can think of all classes of society, all sectors.
Mm-hmm.
All sectors of society would have to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to engineers, you know, to people who are waiting tables, to taxi drivers. It's a whole new world.
What did Aaron Russo say? Total control. They want total control. Total control. All right?
And if the Most High didn't rise up against he could do it. Because this devil has time. If he had time, if he had time on his side, he could do it.
Right.
But he doesn't.
That's right. And that's why things is at a warp speed.
Mm-hmm.
It's at a warp speed. Hold me Revelation 12, and let's finish this out real quick.
All right.
You start from the top, about 16.
And he calls it all, both small and great,
Yep.
rich and poor, free and bond,
Mm-hmm.
to receive a mark.
Yeah, the charagma. You know, when you go into the blue letter, all right, the Strong's G 5480, an incision. How you think that little, and you know, they could have changed it. They could change it up. It could be, you know, by the time it gets here, it could be.
It's advancing.
Yeah, it's advancing.
It's advancing. The technology is getting better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's getting more sophisticated.
But either way, it's gonna be an incision, because they have to pierce your flesh one way or another to get it up in you.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's going to be an incision in the flesh, a micro C-hip incision. You're going to need it to operate in society.
Yeah. You're not gonna be a functioning member of society unless you have the MOTB. Just like now, you can't be a functioning member of society unless you got an ID. You need an ID to get a job. You need an ID for a license. You need an ID to enter certain establishments. You need an ID to buy certain stuff.
Alcohol.
You know, alcohol. We don't buy cigarettes, things like that, but tobacco products, alcohol, guns, you know, things in that nature. Just like with the MOTB, you're not gonna be a functioning member of society, and you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. You ain't gonna be able to work. You ain't gonna be able to buy. You ain't gonna be able to sell. You ain't gonna be able to drive. You ain't gonna be able to do nothing.
Yeah, real last part of this, I'm gonna make a point. Y'all make some great points.
To receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name.
Right, so you're not going to be able, like the brother's going into, to be a partaker in society. Now, you know, Esau has already, you know, you Jakes are halfway defeated. Yeah, you may have you know, guns and all this carnal madness, but you're hooked on these drugs, man. And food is the #1 drug. Food is the #1 drug, man.
Yep.
So you got Jake hooked on all these different chemicals that's in these foods. So when Esau takes it away and say, look, you cannot go and buy this unless you have this inside of you, Jake is going to lose it. Especially these, I'm spitting it out, it's like it. Especially these women that have no type of self-discipline, no type of control, being a weaker vessel.
Have brothers seen the movie Ready Player One?
Yeah.
So Ready Player One, I like the movie, it's pretty dope. But in the movie, you had a boy who was very poor, he was living in a trailer. You know, society was through. But all they kept doing was pumping this game that when you put in it's a virtual world where life is 100 times better. And that's essentially what we're seeing now when you turn on the video games, when you turn on the Netflix, the social media.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, social media.
Social media alone is another world.
And they show you through, when you, like Black Mirror, brothers that have seen Black Mirror, the technology, they put the sticker on you and your consciousness goes into the system, goes into the wherever it is.
Yeah.
The video game, whatever, right? Well, that's reality. Art imitates reality. That's already happening. That's why you have a thing called doom scrolling, where people get off of work around 5 o'clock, start scrolling, they'll look up, it's dark outside.
Yep.
Damn, what the hell happened?
Yep.
You be on the internet, you be like, you went on
good,
there to
yep.
search this, you end up, how the hell did I end up, why do I care about this skateboarder doing skateboard ramps when, you know, and then you find that you be like, damn, but my body still hurts. I still got all these problems. I still got all these bills I gotta pay. So, man, so much distractions to keep you connected and not to the system and not paying attention to what the real problems are.
That's right.
And like I said, Jake is addicted to these things. So when they want to take these things away from you, reality is going to be too tough for them.
They're gonna lose it.
Hey, and these cell phones, and people that got teenage kids, they know how bad these fucking cell phones is, man. You could be this close to them, talking to them. If they in their phone, they ain't hear shit you said.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Somebody could be getting killed in front of them. They in their phone.
You know what's funny about that, real fast? You know, my son used to get made fun of because they called him restriction in his name. Let's just say his name was, I don't know, Charles. Larry. Restriction Larry. Because we have restrictions on his phone. You're not gonna be up in this bullshit, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you gotta protect you gotta protect your seed.
Yeah.
I know Jakes, they were exposed to porn at a young age. You know, adult films, kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know, going over Edomites' houses. First time I seen it from my friend, he showed me on the TV. You know, people don't realize what that does to your brain and what that does. I saw a Jake, a fool. It was a newborn baby. You know, now he's starting to eat food now. This nigga fed him a popsicle. the baby was like, after he had it,
Yeah.
he had to pull him off of him. He got that baby strength all of a sudden.
And we're bringing this out because we're letting you know this is gonna be a hard detachment for a lot of people, man.
Man.
I saw an article where the dude deleted his own offspring because it would stop crying while he was playing the game. He was playing the game and didn't realize, that he actually deleted his child, but he was so locked into the game that his son probably needed changing, probably needed feeding.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the internet alone, you see these guys busting down doors. Is the internet off?
Yeah, fighting the parents.
Yeah,
Hey, some months back, some teenagers, the mom cut the Wi-Fi off, and the kids went and got kitchenized out the kitchen and was chasing her around the neighborhood.
Yep.
Shit like that is going on.
Yep. And that's why these people gonna be happy to take the MOTB, the mark of the beast, man.
If they do this in the green tree, what about when the famine comes?
It's like I just think about Isaiah 32, the teats.
Con.
The
Yep.
breast. Like that's how Esau has everybody on the work, especially the setup on the titty, man.
Yep.
You can't, especially with AI and stuff, you can't make money unless you plug into some kind of online,
Yeah.
Shit,
Bro, people don't even know how to text.
Yep.
I just met a girl. What should I text her? What should be the first message I send her?
Oh, let's see what Chat GBT has to say.
Yeah. Let me ask Chat.
Yeah.
That's the new thing. Let me ask Chat.
Yeah.
That dude, I show speed. He says, "Hey, Chat, is that correct?" He'll ask the chat.
Yeah.
He'll read the chat. No fact checking.
Right. So, brothers, you understand what they're gonna say? Con. So now, knowing this, you have a choice. Give me that scripture. Choose ye this day.
Okay.
Now you have a decision to make, which really ain't your decision. You got to pray that the Lord puts a spirit in you not to take it, because it's going to be a judgment. It's going to be a harsh judgment for taking sides with Esau, even the so-called white man, man.
Yep. This is Saint Joshua 24 and 14.
Yeah, yep.
Now therefore fear the Lord Yahawah.
Yep, slack it.
There you go, you're good.
Look, therefore fear. That's what this thing is about, man. That equals to wisdom. Proverbs, the 1st chapter, tells you that. Don't worry about, the deep breakdowns, all that. Look, get the milk, Jake. Get the milk. What did the Lord want from you? Because Jake don't even understand the simple things, man.
Nope, that's probably good.
Exactly.
You got Jake, we'll do Bible study, or we'll have a, brother do a breakdown, in the class, you watch it, but brothers reading their Bible study, and Jake just be asking, we did the breakdown, what do you think, kind of sandals they might have had? What kind of sandals did they have on during the council?
Right.
Can you tell me that,
Right.
Mr. Prophet Man?
Right.
And that's literal, brothers.
Yeah.
Jake literally asked that question, bro. We ain't just making that up.
Because, we're in times we're getting down to what really matters right now, man. All right, what's the next phase? What's the next step of prophecy, man? And it's Jacob's trouble. All right, the chip, World War III, and our Lord and Savior coming back, man. All right, that's what that's what the pot is rendering down to. And if you're taking sides with this man and his system, you're gonna go down with this man and his system, man. There's a heavy judgment. Get Revelation 14 and Revelation 16. Hold those on deck.
So in Revelation 12 and 12.
I'll give 14
What you got?
right after I finish.
Con,
18,
yep.
verse 18.
Yep.
I accidentally dropped that down a little bit more.
Yeah, finish that, Joshua. Slack. Yeah.
This is actually my page is actually.
Take your time, bro. So yeah, scripture said, choose ye this day whom you will serve. Right? And if you're gonna serve the God of the Bible, you gotta serve him his way. You can't just do your own thing. You can't just say, oh, I'm gonna go to church Sunday, right? I'm gonna go to the club, right? I'm gonna go commit adultery. Whoever's woman in there gonna get it, because you know how niggas are. I know niggas like that, man. Plotting on the next man's woman. and then you're gonna go to church and say, oh, you know, the Lord forgave me.
Yeah, I had Jake, you know, you walking down the hallway with a girl, he wouldn't say what's up to you. I was like, nigga, I don't never talk to you.
Right.
Like, and then you walk by.
That's some weird shit.
You walk. He say what's up to you. So this way, when he turn around and acknowledge you, you can look at the girl's ass. Like, nigga,
Yeah.
I don't talk to you.
Yeah. And those same niggas I separated from. Cause the Lord is bad, man. The Lord is bad. One day we was on a three-way call, 2 dudes, right? And he's like my boys, you know. Or I know him. Anyways, so I was saying what we're gonna do for that night, and you know, I was getting one of the brother off. How did it go? Make a long story short, the call didn't end, and I heard them two talking. It's like, yo, would you smash Mac, girl? Yo, would you smash? Like, that's what they call me in the world, Mac.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
No.
And I was like,
I made that face, but like, who asked that question?
I was like, yo, y'all know I'm still on the phone. Oh yeah.
You know we just playing, yo.
Niggas, yo.
Nah, man, that's
Niggas.
That's that weird shit, bro.
Yeah. Niggas, man.
I know you looked at them super sideways after that.
Oh, it was a wrap.
Yeah, like,
It was a wrap.
Yeah, I can't fuck with y'all.
It's like Jake wanna dap you up, like, Nick, we don't hang out. I don't like you. But let me read this. This is Matthew 24:14. Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and truth.
Right now, fear the Lord. And as a way you fear the Lord. Once again, it's not by your way. All right? There's a way of life the Lord asks his people, demands his people to do. Don't idol worship. Don't worship other gods, man. You know, don't do your own thing. I have a way, I have a blueprint laid out for you. Just, you know.
Yep. It says, now therefore serve him in sincerity and truth.
Right, because the Lord knows those, what's that, Nahum 1:7, who trust in him. All right? The Lord knows who's phony and who's faking it.
Yeah, who's truly detached.
Yeah, who's true, yeah.
Who's really fighting the flesh.
Yep.
You know, who really trying to, damn, you know, I had the liberty to do this. And I can't. As a man, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But he's just like, man, it's just like, is it the right thing to do?
Yeah.
Is it the right time to do it? Should I really do it?
Yeah.
Is it just like, is it me being carnal wanting to do this?
Yeah.
Or is it a natural? Is it just normal?
Hey, prime example. The Lord can take your woman away, right? Or you be going through a dry spell.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you may have a co-worker, fine as hell.
Fine as hell, right?
You know, and F my dude. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
All right, she could be single, but it's just like, do I really have you burning? Do I really have the capacity to even deal with her right now? It's just like.
I mean, that's not going off though. But
well, that's what I'm saying. You're not going off. You got liberty to do it.
Yeah, you got liberty, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, damn, should I even? You know, I got this on my plate right now.
Yeah.
Like, do I got the energy or time or patience to deal with this?
You know, after that post clarity, you're gonna be, hey, you know, well, what's your name, girl? You know, like you don't even care about her no more.
Yep.
Man, we gotta get the hell out of here.
Yep.
This is
Joshua.
Yeah, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord.
And serve ye the Lord, man. All right, that's what it's about. Because if you're not serving the Lord, going back to Isaiah 65, you're not going to eat.
Yep.
You know, you're going to pretty much starve out here, man. Even if you do get the chip, Lord's going to make sure somehow, some way that you don't eat, man.
Yeah. And I'm going to read this next verse.
Hey, real fast, Lord have it to where you get fucking ate on, man. You got to remember the account, you know, Kings, the 6th chapter, 2 Kings, I believe it is.
Chapter 6.
Yeah, when they was eating their own children. It tells you in Matthew that the time is coming, not gonna be like a day like it, man. Lord gonna fuck you niggas up, man. You spicks, you wetbacks, right? You so-called Negroes.
Yep.
You tomahawks. Lord gonna fuck y'all up, man. YNs, all of you, man. All of you, man.
College degrees. You know, niggas with college degrees, they smart, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you get so mad, yo. The prideness of Jake.
And you have this one Jake, you know, right here. Is a prime example. They knew who we were, the Israelites. They parked here. They didn't want to get out.
She was rolling too.
She was embarrassed. She's like, I can't believe, like, I never thought the day I'll see them. The guy. First of all, I wouldn't be on no date with no bald-headed woman. You know? I'm gonna read this Papa Shop.
Yep.
It says, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve.
And that's what our people are saying, right? They're saying it's evil to serve that God of yours. You know, just like that freaking
Yeah, that's them right there.
You know,
They you know, Jake, it's evil to serve the Lord.
Yeah.
In their eyes.
you know,
It's a joke.
yeah, it's a joke. And not only that, you know, that brute beast that the Elder Manatazaba did the lesson on, the N-Dub saying we just need to shut up.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But that's somebody's mama.
Yeah, that is somebody's mama. You know? But the Lord's not a respected person. You know?
And come on, bro. Like, really, woman? Like, people have this moral high ground, and that's the problem. And you know, and that's what we really disdain about this kingdom: the moral, the pride of you people, the audacity. That you know, when it comes to correcting the brother, you examine yourself first. Like, man, well, you know, before I talk to the brother, let me make sure I'm not doing what he's saying. You know what he doing. You know, you want to bring a point out, and a lot of times you be cursing yourself out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you gotta really, you gotta curse yourself out first. You know, all right, hey, this is what, hey, bro, check this out. But Jake, these people don't, you know, they're not doing that.
It's like self-examination. They don't do no self-examination first before they start before they start bumping their gums.
You know, these niggas come to your house saying your house is dirty. No, they eat your food, then talk about how your house is dirty. But these niggas got a pile of trash. All, you know, they're hoarders. Their house is filthy. But nobody knows it because it's the secrets.
Yep.
But the Most High is searching the secrets of men.
Yep. But just wisdom.
That's right.
You know, so choose you this day. If it seems evil for you to serve the Lord, right? And that's what our people are saying. I don't want to serve a God like that. What do you mean he's not here for everybody? What do you mean? He's not.
What do you mean, Mose?
Right.
You know?
Like,
He hates the sin, not the sinner. You got it.
Right. Like, where does it say in the Bible one time that God loves everybody? Or God is for everybody? That's not written one time.
That's right.
Why the hell should I care that, you know, you made the next Superman a Mexican?
Right.
You know, why should I care that you made a Tony Stark replacement, a woman, a black woman?
Yeah, you see what they did with Ariel, the Little Mermaid,
Who cares?
when they made her black.
Right.
You know, they think that's for them in the society to trim their ways to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like they're actually doing something. And
Yep.
for us to speak against black excellence, you know, which is a black disaster,
Right.
y'all got a problem with it.
That's right.
Now this place is finished. Really, a big reason why a lot of these movies suck. It's the left. It's Jake pushing the ideology that was lied to them. Nobody want to watch these damn movies. Nobody want to be a part of this society no more.
Where we at?
God damn.
I still have verse 18.
Let me
finish that.
Let me stop talking. This is Joshua 24 and 15. If it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord. Oh, no, I read it. I read it.
All right, this is verse 18.
It's hot out here.
It is hot. It's verse 18 of Revelation chapter 13. Here is the wisdom. Let him that hath understanding come
That's all I
to...
wanted.
Yeah, read 14:9.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, but we gotta get to the number of his name, 666, which goes...
You want to go into it? You can go into it.
Which goes to the number 666 in the Greek translates to the stigma.
Child style,
Yeah, and stigma means to puncture one's flesh, to stamp, brand, or show recognition of ownership. So when people receive the MOTB, all right, they're receiving a number of a man, they're receiving a stamp, they're receiving a brand, They receiving the puncture to the flesh to show recognition of ownership,
Right.
and recognizing Esau Edom as their owner once they receive the RFID/NFC micro C-hip.
Right.
You know, just like if you receive the potion injection, that's also branded as well. You know, so if you're walking around with the potion injection coursing through your veins, you branded.
And you think like in 2024, 2020, everybody be like, all right, let's see how you made it.
Right.
You know, you had a black woman. Oh yeah, so safe. No, remember a black woman came up with it. Yeah, like what kind of psyop is that?
Remember the first person to take it on TV, she fell out.
Damn.
She was a nurse. It was a nurse. Remember that? Fell out on the TV.
Yeah. But you know the crazy thing is the thing about that jump shot is you can reverse that. You know, guys are went into it that you can reverse it. But this chip, ain't no reversing, man.
Oh no.
Once that's inside of you, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, man.
Yeah.
No, I'm a chop.
Oh, because you know, you said it talks about the grievous sword.
Yeah,
because,
Revelation 16.
You know, the big C
Yep.
that they're gonna get, the big C.
Yep.
You know, we gotta, you know, if you don't know, you gotta catch up.
Yeah.
Watch some older videos, dude. You know, these new channels, you know, we put a lot of work in them.
For real.
You know, the big C, you know, that people have to get the chemo for, right? Enough hints.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is actually when you have a tumor, you know, it's actually a defense mechanism. You know, it's actually your body is taking all that and putting it in one area. You know, and then you would have to do it. You gotta do something about it. But what they do is they poke it, and then when they poke it, it lets all those toxins out. They try to cut it. You know, they try to cut it to get it out the body, but then it releases all the toxins that it bind up.
Now it's spreading.
Now it's spreading. You know, so we don't really know when they put that inside of you, you know, how your body is gonna try to fight against it because it's a foreign object.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And there's gonna be a reward for taking it and a reward for not taking it, man. And we're gonna get into some of those. Brothers got revelation?
This is the reward for taking the MOTB.
The reward.
Yeah, so yeah.
The recompense.
Yeah.
Your reward.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
the wages of sin.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, this is going to be the trying factor, right? Whether a man serveth the Lord, if he serveth not, the hour of temptation.
This is Revelation chapter 14, verse 8.
Get that in Revelation 3.
And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen. It's fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
That's right. So I'm right here in America, man. All right, this is that place, man. It's only gonna take 1 hour for this place to come to naught, man. You know, all the years of building that you Israelites did for this devil, all right? It's all gonna come to naught. You got it.
All right. And the third angel follows them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image.
And these are actions, man. All right? You know, Drake don't realize that they're worshiping Esau, Edom, and everything he prescribes to their actions, man. What you got thinking up there in that brain, you put it into action, man. In that spirit, you put it into action.
Yeah, everyone thinks about, really it's just like everyone down here upon the earth is really doing their pleasure.
Say again?
Everyone is doing their pleasure. What's most pleasurable to men, that's what they do.
Smoking weed.
So for us to do righteousness, this is the most pleasurable thing we could be doing. So a lot of people, to operate in society, you know, they're gonna have to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to keep things normal.
And the people being so oppressed, right? They don't want to compromise nothing.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you're constantly being oppressed, you're looking for an outlet.
Yeah.
You know, and that outlet's gonna come by that chip, man. times are going to get so bad. All right? Remember when they ran out of baby formula?
Yeah.
Right? They so-called ran out.
Yeah.
Shortages everywhere. You know?
I got free stuff?
Yeah.
This is Genesis 47 and 15. It says, all right, yeah, 15 goes straight to the point.
Spirit.
And we know where there was a famine,
Yep.
right? It says, and when the money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, give us bread, for why shouldest we die in thy presence, for the money faileth. So the money fell.
Yep.
Because money is nothing but it's a measure, it's a measurement. It's a tool to measure what things with real intrinsic value is worth. So today, you know, money is telling us that a loaf of bread is worth $7, right? But when the intrinsic value of bread increases because of outside forces, that bread, the intrinsic value of that bread is going to skyrocket any amount of money, you know, that money can't buy. You know, now this bread, it gives life. You know, that's something that gives life is prices. You can't put a price on it.
Right.
So the money is going to fail here. The money system, how we buy and sell now, is going to be transferred to a new system, right? And we see it being introduced slowly with these stable coins. But
Good point.
verse 17, and they brought their cattle unto Joseph. Does not cattle have substance?
That's right. Because it tells you that with Noah, was it Noah and Lot, rich in cattle?
Abraham.
Abraham, the water, Abraham.
was rich in gold, land, silver,
Yep,
cattle.
yep.
But it's not only can you have cattle to eat,
They had to split up.
you can have cattle to till the till
Exactly.
the land. You know, like the Native Americans, the buffalo, they would use every part of it. You know, even the teeth. You know, everything has a purpose.
Had a tool, yeah.
So that cattle that they're selling to Joseph has so much value to it. You know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because like the famine, you can't buy the silver with nothing. So that's why the money failed, because you have all the silver. What can you buy?
Right.
You know, there was nothing to buy. You know, and that's how it is going to be the system like that.
Yeah.
And the NWO, you can't buy nothing. You know, what's the point of having all this USD when I can't use it? You know.
That's right. It reads.
You're gonna have people that you know go on, you know, bank robs and try to, you know, get all the money they can, thinking that this place is gonna bounce back.
It's gonna bounce back. It always bounce back. Yeah, they show you in some movies like that.
Yeah.
You know, robbing store clerks. The store clerk, he price gouged.
Yeah.
So now everything is worth so much more.
Yeah.
And he's like, all right, well now it's a bargaining system, but then somebody's just gonna run up and take everything.
Yep.
So you know, so jumping down to verse 19, it says, wherefore shall we die before thine eyes? So they gave the bread, you know, they gave the cattle. Now the second year came.
Yep.
It says, wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our lands, by us and our land for bread.
That's right.
So by us and all that we got.
Yep.
And you don't have land. Lands is just your property.
Right.
So any assets, whatever you own, well, I'm willing to, for bread, give everything up.
Right.
It says, by us in our land for bread, and we our land will be your servant, be servants unto Pharaoh. You shall own nothing and be happy.
Yep.
And give us seed that we may live and not die, and the land be not desolate. You know, so basically, they were saying, hey, look, you know, give us this bread, and give us seed, and we'll go use our lands to grow crop.
Yep.
And whatever it grows is yours.
Yep.
You know, and in this society, we'll keep working in your factories. We'll keep, you know, showing up at the job, making sure society is running.
That's right. And the scripture says no thing upon the sun. This is coming right back, man. Like the brother's going into. All right? Except for this time, it's gonna come through by the way of that sea hip, man. All the fun and games, the joking, the playing around, what the MOTB is, what it's not, all those things are gonna get put to a halt in these times that we're living in, man. All right, and it's rapidly approaching any day now. That's what we hope and pray that prophecy speeds up, man. Brothers is tired. How much more the apostles, you know, the elder bishops, who've been catching hell.
Bodies breaking down.
Yeah.
These bodies are through.
Yeah, this place sucks.
You know, believe it or everyone is dealing with some type of underlying ailment here in Babylon the Great. I don't care if it's knee pain, if it's a chronic soreness, you know.
Or some you don't even know about.
Some of you, something that's on the cusp. You focusing on, all right, I'm gonna make sure I'm flossing, you know, preventative maintenance for my oral health. Then now your digestive system is hurting. You know, it's like a used car that you just need this thing to get you down the road. Fix something on it, you know. As long as it stay going, as long as point A to point B, and that's all that really matters.
So where we at?
Back in that Revelation 14.
Yep.
Revelation chapter 14, verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or on his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of YAHAWAH, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation.
Yeah, so you're gonna be tormented with fire, man. You know, if you're what's the word I want to use? If the Lord really hates you that much, you'll make it to the fire, man. You know, for those that do take it, you know, hey, Jacob's trouble.
Well, even you know, even guys that take the sea hip, you know, they die, the Lord can raise their spirits back up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You know, really, the Apostle Elder Tahar went into that. The Lord, he's gonna wake up all the spirits. You know. Now that'd be bad if you lived your ass in Russia. You was a black man in Russia. The Lord had raised you up here in America. You know what I mean? You're the black man.
Right.
You know, you was wicked, and the Lord have you. That'd be horrible.
Right.
You know, because all the world, you know, is gonna, you know, micro sea hips.
And babies are still gonna be being born. Them spirits coming back.
Yep.
You know, they can rise up as adults in that day. That's gonna be the final judgment.
Yeah. The Lord can do whatever the hell He wants to do, man. But
yeah,
you know,
it tells you that in St. John the 5th chapter, where He shall judge, He shall condemn the, you know. We don't gotta get it. We
want to get it. But damn, I was about to say.
The Lord does whatever He wants.
Yeah.
The Lord could, you know.
It'll come back to me. Anyways, you know, pretty much, you know, the judgment is going to be fire, man. The Lord told you in Isaiah 66, He was coming back with fire. All right, and with His chariots on who? His enemies. All right. So, matter of fact, you got the
Revelation 3.
Yeah. Just get that. Yeah.
This is was there any more?
I mean,
There was more?
and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Yeah. You know, Lord want to be on that number, standing before the sea of glass, looking down the judgment of those that have taken that chip, man. You know? We're getting the blood off our hands. It tells you in Ezekiel the 3rd chapter. We're giving you warning.
Yep.
So when this deal is said and done, you can't say that you have a prophet has not been among you. It has, man. You know? It's not going to be, you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda in that day. You're going to have to just hold it, man. And that's the problem with our people. They don't want to take accountability. Accountability is going to hold you in that day, man. There's not going to be any escaping. Somebody get that definition of torment real fast?
Identity crisis.
Yeah.
They don't know who they are.
And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever. And they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whoever receiveth the mark of his name. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of Yahweh and the faith of YAHAWASHI.
Come on, bring it out.
This is the definition of torment. It means to severe physical or mental suffering, cause to experience severe mental or physical suffering.
And we're going through that now, but we're going through it for righteousness' sake. All right? 2/3 are going to go through this literally in these times that we're living in, man. But it's going to be for wickedness. You know? You want to say something?
Yeah, it's gonna be, you know, because when you watch, brothers always, show that example of talk about John Connor, Sarah Connor, the Vision in Terminator 2. Well, a spiritual eye, you guys see it was slowed down. The vision was slowed down. Showing you that she felt that. Showing you that.
Yeah.
It's just through the spirit. We always bring that out. Time's gonna be slowed.
Yep.
When those, that's what it means by tormented. You think about nuclear winds,
Right.
that it could really just, really, it could, because it can do that, right? But we really don't know the depths of, Esau's technology. It's all a theory for him. A theory, when you watch a movie, that's nothing but a theory. That shit could just,
Yeah.
fucking fry your ass.
You think about Fat Man and Little Boy, when the Japanese had they had surrendered, but Esau wanted to see what that technology would do anyway,
Yeah.
and dropped it.
They said when they showed you, they showed the body, the skin disintegrating.
What was it? Man.
Climbing up. But yeah, you gotta think. The Lord is literally, not metaphorically speaking, but literally speeding up time and shortening the days. Just think about the power of that alone. Something written thousands of years ago, and the Lord shall shorten the days. The days shall be shortened. And then here we are in 2025, and information is coming out that days are literally being shortened. And we could go back and show you in the scriptures where that's written.
I feel like we hear every other day.
Yeah.
We leave here, we leave camp. This shit, it's trippy sometimes.
Yeah, time.
I be like,
flying.
yo, tomorrow's Friday. You know what I mean? Like, brother made a joke. He said, I feel like I'm taking out trash every day.
I wish Payday thought that way.
Right.
I don't even look at the account no more, bro.
It seemed like rent due every fucking week.
I got everything on auto pay, bro. I just got everything on check. All right, we good. It's in there. I don't even look.
But yeah, the days being shortened, so you gotta think, the Lord could shorten the days. Imagine when during a nuclear destruction, when the people here that received that fire, that received that torment, that received that heat, that could be slow motion.
Yeah.
You feeling every bit. You feeling your eyes melting away in your head. You feeling your tongue melting away in your mouth. You feeling your flesh slowly disintegrate off of your bones.
Yeah, it's the climax of the movie. America Be Destroyed is really the climax.
Yeah.
Because that's what everybody's looking for. In the climax.
I call it the grand finale.
You gotta slow it down. Yeah, the grand finale. I got this.
Yep.
Revelations 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Yeah, you held fast to this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. The Lord is going to keep thee. Why? Because you're part of that remnant. You're part of the elect. The elect in these times will not fuck around with the grace period. They'll be fearing to the best of their ability. They'll be serving the Lord His way to the best of their ability, man. There will be things that they will be doing on the earth. And you got to question yourself. Am I doing what the Lord wants me to do? In righteousness? Now, we're not going to be perfect. but you got to do to the best of your ability, man.
Yeah, when you go into the word diligence, it means effort. No, are you giving effort?
And then there's a good point. And in this kingdom, all right, you know, when you put forth an effort for righteousness, there's not a reward, but for wickedness it is. You know.
This is the Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah. So the Lord's going. You want to say something, my God?
No, I was thinking, because an hour, you don't mean like literally an hour. It's a time period.
Right.
And the Lord said you're gonna have tribulation 10 days, you know, perfect amount of time. You know, it's gonna be a stressed out period, like we were just reading about in Joseph. This time, a 7-year famine, man. You know, so that's hour temptation could be, you know, a year. We don't know. You know, months. But again, in that time, you're gonna be tried and tested, man. Yeah. So either you're gonna sell yourself to Pharaoh,
Right.
Pharaoh Esau, you're
Right.
gonna trust in the Lord, man.
Yep. That's right. And you know, read that last part again, Azar.
Yeah. The difference between now and Egypt is that Joseph was acknowledged. Joseph was set up by Pharaoh. That's why
Right.
everybody went to him.
Right.
If Joseph never would got set up, nobody would have went to him.
That's right.
So nobody, you know, the Lord set us up though.
That's right.
You know.
And once again, the scriptures say, "My servants shall eat." My servants. You got it.
Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
Yeah, temptation is to do something wrong, man. All right, and you're being tempted to finalize that last transgression against the Heavenly Father, man. And the Lord told us in Exodus the 20th chapter to have no other gods before Him. This Sihip is a god. All right.
Well, I gotta feed my family.
Yeah.
The Lord can feed your family.
Exactly.
You know, it's like your woman. You know, we don't ever do anything. Well, in due time we'll do something.
Right.
You know, the kingdom coming.
Yep.
You know, we'll do something then. And it's gonna be good.
They ain't trying to hear that.
They're gonna have to hear it.
You know, they don't got no patience. They don't got no faith. You just tell them, hey, just wait. You know.
They'd be good. They'd be good.
Be all right.
They'd be all right. We all right. Shit, so much stuff we want to do.
Yep.
You know, so much. You know, Jay want to do a lot.
That's a fact.
But you know what? We got. I gotta watch a video.
Yeah.
Shit, I'm gonna do a lesson.
Especially with all the information we have through the Spirit, you know, it's a lot of stuff we want to do that we can't do. You know.
You know, if we put it. They say you put in 10 hours to do anything, you master it. I don't got 10 hours. No, 10,000 hours. You know, you put 10,000 hours how to become the best golf player. You become the best, you know, you do it. You become good at it. I don't got 10,000 hours to invest in anything in this society.
Right.
No, we looking to keep the words of YAHAWASHI preserved in our minds as this is what's pure, this is the way, this is what's important.
Right. Read that last part again, Michelle.
It says,
Oh, you start from top. If you want.
because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a trying time for everyone. Remember, we read in Revelation 13, He's gonna call them all, right? Don't matter if you're rich or poor, free or bond, things of that nature.
Yep. And we don't really gotta wait for him to perfect his technology.
Yeah, no.
Because I was watching, man, I can't remember the name of the company. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a scandal. Microsoft was invested in them. But there was a scandal that they said they had AI, that their AI was fully automated, blah, blah, it was working. But behind the scenes, it was a private company, it actually got leaked that a group of engineers was actually powering the AI. So it was actually, it wasn't, you know, fully automated, you know, it was engineers. So really, Esau Edom, you know, he could really, you know, he could do this anyway. He don't gotta wait to perfect his AI. He can have engineers behind the scenes, heartless engineers, men that, okay, cool, they took a bag. Now they and their family have a right to the new world.
Yeah. Or you know, it's funny. I saw a movie. What movie was that, man? Oh, the movie that Brother Wall was talking about. And they had these like gamers. I forgot the name of it, but it was like these gamers, and they controlled these robots. The robots went into the rainforest and was deleting people, and they didn't know it until, you know, they didn't know that was the robot's job. And they had a soldier there controlling, you know, the scene, make sure everything went well. And then when the robot started deleting people, the gamers wasn't down for it. So they was like, yo, like, I'm not with this. And he was like, he ended up deleting one. And there was like, you know, okay. You know what I'm saying? It was like, you know, either you do this, you know, and they were showing their families, like showing them videos like, we could take your family member out right now.
Yep.
So take this bag, do what we say do. You know what I'm saying? So it made me think about that when you said that.
Yeah, I got a precept.
Time.
This is a goddamn body's through. This is Hebrews 11:7. By faith, Noah being warned of the Most High of things not seen as yet.
Right. Talking about the rain, you know, the flood.
Yeah.
Because you know, I'd be like they always bring out, you know, it's the dew. They had watered everything, man. So you talking about, you know, water falling from the sky? It was like, what? Nah, you know. It took faith, and Noah had the faith, and we, Lord willing, we are the Noah of this time, man. You know. You got it. Huh?
This is Revelation 11:7. By faith, Noah being warned of YAHAWAH of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house.
Is that not what we're doing now? Mm-hmm. We're moving with fear. We're going out, we're giving a warning. Because just like, you know, Noah was prophesied in that building, are we not doing the same thing? You know? To the saving of ourselves and our household? Yes, we are.
That's right. Yeah, this is the covering.
Right.
That's why she that is my enemy shall see it.
I was thinking about that.
You know, your girl that want to stay by you, and you know, brothers, you know,
yep.
You know, we give the warning.
Yep.
But you know, a lot of our women are gonna stick by us.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Shit, we give them the ultimatum all the time.
Yep.
Well, you don't want to stay, you don't gotta be here.
Yep.
You know, well, I know I'm working towards. Yeah, it's not cool now, but I know it's gonna be cool in the future.
Right.
You know how many people I've met in my lifetime that I've never spoken to again?
Right.
You know, reality check. You know, but hey, we're doing the mighty work in the name of Yahweh, for the Lord's sake, the name of YAHAWASHI, for His holy name's sake. And a great reward is going to come. It's going to be man, that power is going to be lifted, a standard.
Yeah. Scriptures say that. Like, people shall be willing in the day of thy power. When they see the value behind this truth, this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that's when they're really going to want to follow. That's when they're going to tell me more.
That's when they're going to listen to the instructions.
Yeah.
All right, hey, do it like this.
Yeah.
Do it this way.
Do it this way.
Now it's just like,
you know, it's funny you say
thanks,
that.
Babe. Thanks, son. Thanks, nephew.
Right. I was helping my woman with something today, and she was like, how did she say it? She was like, I'm following you. How you want to do this? Because you be thinking for both of us. Like, you know, look, how we gonna do this? You know what I'm saying?
That's the right spirit.
And then, you know, after she said it, oh, okay. After she said it, it's like the demon hopped on her. Like, why'd you say that? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that was all spiritual. Because when we get that power, you know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be as much talking.
Yeah. Your woman ain't gonna tell you, well, you know, I feel like living is doing what I want to do.
Right.
She ain't gonna say that.
Right. That's right.
Well, you do what you want to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a man.
That's right.
It's a man's world.
That's right. It's a difference.
It's a man's world.
Right.
You know, plenty of women out here. We just saw one.
Exactly.
They everywhere.
Everywhere.
They are literally everywhere. It's not like searching for gold.
Right.
No, it's not like searching for gold. They everywhere.
That's right.
Man, that's why a precious woman shall hurt 12 rubies. That's talking about the truth.
That's right.
Talking about wisdom.
That's right.
Man.
That's
but yeah, we preparing this ark to the saving of our household. Hebrews 11:7. Prepare, and that, imagine that. Preparing the ark.
Yeah.
Time, dedication, focus, energy.
Yep. Dealing with and dealing with the what's the word I want to use? The sufferings. This is the hardest task to do on the earth, man. With no recognition. The angels rejoice. You know, YAHAWASHI is rejoicing. You know. Yes. But for those that are immediately among you, for the world, you know.
Bugged out.
Yeah.
We see your time.
Yep. So Hebrews 11:7, it says, prepare the ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became an heir of righteousness, which is by faith. So he condemned the world.
Right.
So Noah wasn't fucking happy. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Scarcely does a righteous man smile. You know? Scarcely does a righteous man smile. We're not here to live it up. You know, we can nitpick and nuances. It ain't gonna be happy wife, happy life. That's an illusion.
That's gonna die here with America.
It's gonna die here with America.
Happy wife, happy garbage anyway.
Yeah.
You know, so we're working, we're building. Lord's willing. You know, we you know, continue to fight and endure to the end. Right? This is why we were put here to push the word, be in season, out of season, Lord's willing, right? And to endure to the end. So with that, we're going to close out, giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son.
Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, QADASH.
The one say Apostle Sales a great millstone teaching us. The one saying truth according to the Bible were well. And peace and blessings to the collective of the nation of Israel. Next time we say Shalom.
Shalom.